Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek. We're so sorry, skeletons, you're so misunderstood. You only want to socialize, but I don't think we should. A spooky, scary skeleton shouts startling, shrilly screams. They'll sneak under sarcophagus and just won't leave you be. Spirit supernatural, shy, what's all the fuzz? The bags of bones seem so unsafe, it's semi-serious. Spooky, scary skeletons are silly all the same. They'll smile and stab and slowly eye and drive you so insane. Sticks and stones will break your bones, they seldom let you stew.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born, and with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you. I just want it to be like the Crusader Corps. Like my father. I thought with my new powers I could be. But I failed. I let everyone down. I got people hurt. I just wanted to make the world a better place. And instead I made things worse. But now I have the chance to make things right with the help of one of the Crusader Corps. The Phoenix Senshi. And I will. I have to. Whatever it takes. I will find that spark again.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Someone says, what's the future? Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are going to be talking Superman tonight, the brand new movie, of course. And I haven't seen the original since I think before I started reading comic books. I'm long overdue. But I did see this new one, and I have many thoughts. Most of them good. Of course, I'm making shorts, and I did shorts talking about my negatives. I do want to talk about my positives more. But TikTok seems to be very angry with me at the moment. In fact, let me go ahead and post this on my TikTok story. Let people know that I'm live. Because people on TikTok, they don't seem to be big fans of really, like, if you criticize anything corporate, to be honest with you, they seem to take that as like an affront to them. Hold on. Oh, you can't put links? That's cringe. All right, there we go. That's good enough. All right. I don't think anyone's going to come over there because TikTok brain, it's a thing. But we're going to go ahead and bring in this guy. What's going on? How you doing?
I think I just had a stroke.
Ended effect.
Yeah, that's a crazy effect right there. I'm doing good. How you doing, Vaughn?
Good. Been busy. Been crazy busy. But good. I'm like, you know what? I should probably take time to talk about the things I like more, And so I'm doing that. And so far, I'm having fun. Sorry, I have to reschedule something else. That's what happens. But all right, bare minimum. By the way, you keep messaging me. Sorry, just real quick. You keep messaging me saying you want to get the physical copies, and I keep sending you the link. So if you want the physical copies of my book, let me know if you've been able to. But how you doing, Weed Pillar? Gun Bros and New Snyder Bros, watch out. And howdy there, Jinja Ninja. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing.
TikTok is very protective of female characters. I learned that the hard way when I playfully threw shade at Natalie Portman for having CGI muscles in Love and Thunder. And it's not up for debate. It's not up for contest. Yes, she got a little trimmed for it. Like, she worked off her homemaker weight, but like she did not get jacked for that role. There's like behind the scenes photos of her with like black dots all over her as reference points to give her like the Thor muscles, but like people on TikTok think that she got built like Chris Hemsworth for the role. So I threw shade at her for having CGI muscles because I feel like you don't need to give her muscles, just have her work out to the point where she's toned and then have her be herself, her size.
What?
No woman needs to be like massive like Hemsworth. Even in the comics, that's how Mighty Thor is. She's just woman, but like pronounced muscles. That's it. She doesn't grow to Thor's size in the comics.
You're not allowed to criticize women. No, dude, no trouble at all. I'm just letting you know because you've asked a few times. I just want to make sure is the link working or whatever. But no worries. Just always making sure.
But yeah, I imagine, are you getting hate for the thing you posted on your Rebel Oasis?
Yes, I post on all the platforms, the same shorts on every platform. And wouldn't you know it, the most easily offended platform. Oh, I got several messages. I got links from unknown users. Okay, that is a scam. You have such profound impact in Daphne Keene with your likes, comments, love, and support. I think you message would fail to express gratitude to you for your support on her career. What? As Daphne Keene would like to meet up or maybe have a single conversation with such dedicated and supportive fan like you. BTW, my name is Brian Liebman, and I happen to be her personal agent and representative.
Yeah, right. Definitely would not associate with any part of this podcast.
Dude, that's so good.
In other news, Isabella
I didn't
Merced
talk
just swiped
about
right
that.
on me on Tinder. LOL. LOL. That also happened.
Hi, Doug. Sounds legit. Yeah, exactly. I think
I
she's
know,
into me,
right?
guys.
I know, right?
James Gunn's Superman. What are we thinking? The Snyder jihadists want this movie to fail. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. You see, here's the thing.
I called them a few things.
Snyder bronies is one of mine.
None of which I can say on your stream.
That's fair enough. Snyder bronies. Yeah, here's the thing about them. So because I rewatched Man of Steel kind of, on a stream, and
the music in that movie is so good.
It's so good, but I think it does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Exactly. That's my point. Like the music,
heavy lifting.
The music gives it half the points that I give it in general.
And so with this movie, okay, so I guess we'll just get right into it. So your base thoughts on the movie, and then we'll.
Great start, but not as good as Iron Man.
Okay.
In my opinion, we're at a point where the coin has been flipped and it is spinning back down. But I feel like we wouldn't have needed to flip a coin in the first place if it was as good or better than Iron Man.
Okay.
It came out just swinging super hard, like perfection from the get-go. I'd be like, hell yeah, bring on Woman of Tomorrow.
So a lot of people have told me to read that, so I might, and give.
I was one of those people. I was in your comments. I was like, you missed a little bit here, bro. That's
because here's the thing: Con King's work just looks unappealing to me. To be honest,
it is not the best Supergirl story. It's not like a world-changing comic, but it's inoffensive. And what I like about it is it's disconnected from continuity enough that you can like it, like on its own. Love it or hate it, it exists like in its own little vacuum. So I think this was like a perfect comic for Gunn to say like, yeah, we should probably do this one. So that way, if the movie isn't received well, we can just leave her off where this comic is left off. But then he went and casted Millie Alcock, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to keep Supergirl around. So we'll have to hope that they stick the landing with that one. But I mean, hey, Jason Momoa Lobo is the villain in that movie, apparently. So
I see. I haven't seen it, but I heard there's a lot of cursing in it. That already turns me off. I mean, there was a surprising amount. I forgot how much swearing there was because when I read superhero stuff, I don't have swearing, and so I kind of notice it. It's not that big of a like to me. I'm not clutching pearls, but there was definitely a fair amount.
Enough to be like, this is a Superman movie. Maybe dial it back.
Yeah,
I do like how they made a conscious effort for Superman himself not to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hey, look, gays, says Volcoma. Thank you, man. Also, I would like to formally apologize on air. I have been falsely accusing Jim Alaska of being Volcoma. That was not the case. Jim Alaska has nothing to do with Volcoma. I know who it is, but I'm not going to say who it is. But Jim, I would like to formally apologize to you. Okay, so Superman, my thoughts are kind of similar to yours. I think it is a very solid start in a lot of ways. But I think this movie in general seems to show, I think they're going to get certain characters great and certain ones they're just not going to get well. And I think they got most of the characters in this movie right. But that doesn't change the fact that certain things down the line I am nervous about. I think there are a few things that really bothered me and stuck out like sore thumbs, but there are some things that I really, really, really liked, and the good far outweighs the bad, in my opinion. I thought it was a really good movie and a really good start to a DC universe, and it's a very different approach that I think was very much needed, honestly. I think it was very much needed to do something in a different way. And it felt very comic booky in that you could have characters that are all over. And my mom was like not confused at all, and I think that's the case by just setting that there are metahumans in this world, that there's ongoing history, kind of like comic books. You just kind of go, oh, okay, that's this character. Here's a bit of this.
I liked the text crawl at the beginning that was
I did too.
3,000 years ago, metahumans appeared.
Yeah. I think at first I was like, because that is technically, telling, not showing, right? but I
Yeah.
actually didn't mind, and it felt very comic booky.
The problem with, I think the problem he was trying to circumvent there is the Zack Snyderisms, where in the Man of Steel verse, everything had no history, so he just sort of randomly vomited exposition wherever he wanted, and it was really messy and unsatisfying. So I think he's trying to sidestep that by just saying, this is the history, this is where we are now, enjoy the movie, you know?
Yeah, and I think, it's not perfect storytelling. Yeah, it's telling, not showing, but it's also rules are made to be broken. For every thing you could say, you never do this in a story, you'll always find a counterexample, and so I can forgive it. Yeah, is it perfect? Is it weird that we kind of start mid-conflicts and we have to be told things during text? Yeah, but it wasn't hard to follow at all, and I like the opening. One thing right off the bat, Superman is not very powerful in this movie.
They went the Justice League Unlimited route. He's like the Bruce Timm verse Superman.
Which I didn't mind necessarily, but I would have liked to see more Unleashed. But we could always see that down the road. For this movie, they got what is most important about Superman.
They're saving that. They're saving that for like when like Darkseid yeets him into the sun or something.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we got a next panelist.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Sammy, how's it going, buddy?
How are you?
What's good?
Well, what are your thoughts, real quick, on the new Superman movie? Let's just real quick, and then we'll get into the specifics.
Mixed bag, but genuinely positive. Like it kind of felt like seeing like a Silver Age comic come to life.
Yeah,
it has its problems though. But I'll take a lighthearted, fun movie with problems over anything that Zack Snyder shit out, where it was like gloom and gloom the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'd rather have a story with problems that everyone basically acts in character than a story that, even if you wanted to argue, which they're not, of course, but like where a movie is, it's a better movie, but the characters aren't right. Because the whole point is we're setting up a universe. I want to see the characters I know and love on the big screen. And I think we got that.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, there were certain depictions where some of it, you could argue that it was writing or directing, or maybe you didn't have the right actor. Like I was very surprised how weak Nicholas Holt's performance was.
Really, you think so?
Really,
I thought he was great.
No, there were certain. No, don't get me wrong. There were certain times where he brought, but there was like a couple other times where it was like, oh, I've seen this actor bring much more intensity in different roles, so I'm wondering if he was directed to hold back at a certain point, or maybe they just didn't get the sound on it right, or there was a couple things I was surprised, but there was a couple things that he did that felt very Lex Luthor to me, especially like one of my favorite scenes is with the coffee cup. Pick that up, like that felt like Lex to me.
This movie, much like the Snyderverse, is outing all the normies online, because you see all these idiots on like Instagram or something taking out of context clips from like Justice League Unlimited and saying this isn't like Lex Luthor at all, and then they're trying to take a dig at Nicholas Holt, and I'm like, so you're telling me you've never read a single comic before?
Yeah,
because the Bruce Timm verse is the exception. It's just a really good exception, so we pretend to not care that it's not a decent adaptation.
Yeah, I'm so sick of these. Like someone was, like I was having a back and forth with someone, actually plenty of people, where James Gunn opened his mouth and he's like, "It's an immigrant story," and I was like,
it was his brother.
It's not a traditional immigrant story.
Just so we're clear, it was Sean Gunn.
It was Sean Gunn. Well, either way, it's not your
real quick. Speaking of immigrants, story. We got someone immigrating onto the stream.
Until the midnight.
What's going on, Arza?
There he is.
That was certainly a segue.
I thought it was fitting for you.
The effort.
Because that's what you look like with your shirt off.
Yeah, no, so
totally.
Real quick, we'll continue. Sorry, the conversation. It looks like it's mostly going to be us four, but quick thoughts on the movie before we hop back to it, Arza.
I actually really liked it. Now, I think after hearing some discussions on it and thinking about the movie some, My initial score is like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a fantastic film in the theaters, but I think I'm going to drop it down just a little bit now that I've had more time to think about it. There are some things. The movie has a lot of flaws, but I'm willing to overlook a lot of them because it feels very comic booky to me. So like the flaws feel natural to be in the movie, just because that's kind of like a comic book. I thought it did a really good job with the emotional through line. I thought Superman was really a symbol of hope that he was supposed to be, and I can tell that Vaughn disagrees with me.
No, I'm not. No, I was concerned about the noise Sammy was making. That's all. No,
Yeah, it was
Well,
like
it's
you
one of
turn
those
off your
things.
camera and then you make that noise.
yeah, that was like
What in the dark side,
Oh.
Phil? What are we doing here?
But no, I thought it was a great movie. It's the best Superman movie I've seen. When in comparison, I've only seen Man of Steel, and none of the other Superman movies. But it was far better than Man of Steel. I felt
I
like
have seen all the other Superman movies. It's still, if you did see them all, it would still be up there. It would still be up there, like top 2, top 3 minimum. It wouldn't fall below that.
my one specific response is I can't believe James Gunn did it, and I think he could not do it again. I think this was an accident.
How so?
Just because everything about it, you can see areas where it was kind of trying to go in a different way, and you can see James Gunn like coming very close to messing it up. It didn't feel like an ensemble movie to me. It felt like the other characters were there because they should have been there instead of feeling like other main characters. Like Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner were there because they just would be there instead of it feeling like an ensemble movie. And I don't think James Gunn did that on purpose, and if he tried again, he would accidentally just make an ensemble movie. So.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. That's a good assessment. That's actually an argument that I use because one of my favorite movie analysis podcasts kind of went off on this movie really hard, and one of their criticisms they kept levying the entire movie was James Gunn wants to have his cake and eat it too. He's starting this universe like midway. Like we're not getting origins. We're just going to be like, yeah, this is the story. This is where we're at. This is what's happening. And
The
so,
3
like,
years into Superman's career is still pretty early for a universe. That's not like
So
super
the-
late.
the
for
criticisms are
Superman,
like
not for the whole universe.
the criticisms are like, well, if this is the case, how come, so and so and so and so aren't showing up when Lex is splitting the world in half? And I'm like, one, Lex isn't splitting the world in half. Two, any Gotham-based heroes aren't gonna show up here.
Also,
'cause
Superman was
they're
the first
in
of the-
Gotham. So
Superman was the first of the main heroes to show up too. Superman showed up, then Batman, then the Flash.
well, we already have confirmation that it's not going to be like that because
we don't know that.
the way it's going to work is right now, as of right now, the way I'm understanding it is Batman is already established because his first movie is going to be a Bat family film. So
And it does take a couple years for Batman to get Robin.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a weird. This is what I mean when I say it being in motion is fine, but it's going to be definitely weird with some of the ages of the characters. It's not looking like we're going to get a Justice League as like my ideal Justice League on film. My ideal Justice League, I'm talking the original 7. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, Barry Allen, Flash, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter. I don't see them doing that based on how we're headed. Because you look at the ages. I mean, Superman's in his 30s. How old's Batman going to be?
at least 30s.
At least.
And then, of course, there's the rumor that they might be bringing Grant Gustin back to play the Flash.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I like Grant Gustin, but
Give him a good costume and let him actually act, and then it can work.
Different Flash.
Yeah. If he actually gets to play Barry Allen and play the Flash instead of just whatever the fuck the CW wanted him to do.
I just don't think I enjoyed the first 2 seasons. The 3 was a mixed bag. I think the first season, the Flash hot take was the best one.
That's not a hot take. That's
is that really? That's okay.
Wait, you thought season 4 of the Flash was the best season?
No, season 1.
Oh no, yeah. I think everybody. Well, I think some people might like season 2 better, but
Yeah.
both
No,
are
in my
acceptable.
opinion, season 2 is where it started to fall the fuck off, like hard, because that was where the stop to talk trope was born.
And which one?
Oh, what are we talking about?
The Flash on the CW.
Oh,
Season
Yeah.
2 is where the stop to talk trope starts, where Barry just zooms in and starts exposition dumping, and then the bad guy
Yes.
gets away, and then they like dick around the whole episode until the very end, where he inevitably speed blitzes them like he could have the entire time.
Yeah. So I think getting back to it, we talk about a lot of our goods and a lot of our things. So let's talk. So we talked about some of our favorite things. I guess. So do you want to go into the positive or the negative first?
I'd say let's start with the negative.
Yeah.
Be
I say
like
let's start with
the
negative.
movie and on a positive note.
Yeah, we all like the movie, but we have little things we can critique. Because to me, and I hate to say it, but when a movie is this, if the movie was thoroughly bad, it's like, oh my God, where do I, the fact that the movie is mostly good makes the things I don't like really stick out.
Well, it's not quite a good enough movie that you can excuse the issues. The issues are glaring, and you can't really excuse them because the movie's just not that good yet.
Yeah.
Let's see. So,
Are we talking spoilers here?
Yes.
Yeah,
we
I
are
was
talking
literally
spoilers.
about to say spoilers kosher, right?
Yeah, we are going full spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, come back when you've seen the movie. This is your 5, 4, 3.
And while it's
2.
not perfect, it is worth seeing. So
It
go
is worth
see
seeing.
it. Go see it.
yes.
Go see it. Yeah. So, all right. 2 biggest things. Also, ours is brought up, or one of you brought up a point that I'm kind of interested in talking about. But all right. So, biggest thing. What the hell were they thinking with the L family? Jor-El and Laura L. What the hell were they thinking?
Okay,
Terrible decision.
I've been catching flack back for this. I think it's a red herring. I think the whole thing's a red herring. Even though like Mr. Terrific was just like, hey, they don't say that stuff's true unless it's been verified. I think it was it was siphoned through the engineer. She doctored it on the way in, or they just misinterpreted it. And Mr. Terrific took all of 3 seconds to go, like, he didn't even look at it, and he was like, hey, they don't say it's true unless it's true.
Well, I thought, wasn't his dialogue something to the effect of like, I know the people who did it, so I know that they're legit, or something like that? Like, I feel like his dialogue was something to the effect of like the linguists are people I know, or something like that. Like he was very definitive about it because
they wouldn't put it out unless it was like verified. But it was just like, also, this is coming from a guy who just admits that he puts nanobots in all his friends so he can like keep up with them. Was like,
Friends.
maybe take a little time and look.
But no, to me, I agree that currently it feels like a red herring, but let's operate on the assumption that it isn't, because the movie doesn't do a great job of saying it's true, but it does nothing to say that it isn't true. Because
Yeah,
also
exactly.
Lex says the line where he says that. Yeah.
I'm gonna be the 1v3 here. I think this is genius because in most comic continuities, other than Superman, Supergirl, Superdog, and then the occasional Lex, Clark, Love Child, Superboy, other than those 4, in most continuities, any other surviving Kryptonians tend to be evil.
Except you're missing a pretty big piece of context. There was a Kryptonian civil war, and the bad ones were shoved into the Phantom Zone, meaning that they weren't on Krypton when it exploded.
It depends. My point is,
Kandor?
it depends which continuity we're going from here. And since there is no Kandor thus far, I'm inclined to believe that maybe in this continuity, the bad Kryptonians were the ones that came out on top.
Okay,
But
counterpoint.
Okay.
Counterpoint. Are we talking about Kryptonians or are we talking about Jor-El and Laura L specifically?
Yeah, let's focus on Jor-El and Laurel specifically.
Like, all right, fine. By that logic, there's more bad humans than metahumans. So if we make one of the metahumans,
we should focus more on specifically what's in the movie. And so, to steelman the idea that it's real, James Gunn has explicitly spoken about it being real, and this leaked. This plotline actually did come out months ago. We just kind of forgot about it alongside the monkeys. Yeah. Now there are, if we're just looking at it within the plot, the number one issue is line A directly contradicts line B. There's an absolute flaw between those two, and if it's a true statement, the video's true, assuming it's true, that is a direct contradiction, and that is bad writing. And
Which,
that's just a flaw.
Elaborate. I'm interested in hearing.
So the first set of lines is, we are sending you to Earth because they are good, they are kind, and they will help you, and you can do the most good there. Line 2 is, fuck all of them, turn Earth into Krypton 2.0, and dominate the world. You cannot care for a world and control a world. Those are two
Well,
contradictory
no, you can.
statements.
Dictators think that often
Well,
that they're
you
doing
can have the
it.
benevolent dictator, yeah. But the way that it's set up, one is the line of a protector and one is the line of a conqueror. And you cannot protect and conquer.
they don't match up. And then especially there's some weird glitch, right? It got damaged.
Yeah, if we're just assuming that it's a factual statement, then it does not. It is bad writing if the video is true.
All right, hold on. Volcoma 199. If you think about it, Bizarro must have a vagine. No, actually.
No, his balls are just on top.
Yeah, exactly. The balls are just...
I'm glad he's paying for all these.
The profile picture and everything.
I'm okay with like the plot point on paper. I'm gonna wait and reserve my judgment to see how it hashes out. Because if it's revealed to be a red herring, that kind of invalidates the emotional payoff that happens at the very end of the movie, which that'll piss me off. Yeah, it will. His whole thing is, oh, my parents in space are evil, so screw them. I'm going to fully embrace my human parents, the Kents, and they're going to be the footage that soothes me now. That's the whole like emotional payoff at the end there.
Which pissed me off.
I don't mind that. I thought that was wholesome.
I thought that was
but it's only gonna stay strong if like this new timeline of, because I don't know, has anyone here read the full Frank Miller Dark Knight run?
Yeah. Wait, the full
because it's Dark Knight Rises, Dark Knight Strikes.
You mean Dark Knight Returns?
Or excuse me, Dark Knight Returns.
I haven't read anything after.
And then the third one is Dark Knight Master Race. And that one's a little different, but in that one, it's revealed that the city of Kandor is like evil, and then they all leave the city, and Superman and Batman got to team up to take them down. So that if that's the direction James Gunn is going, then I will be intrigued to see where it goes, because not everything in this universe is going to be written and directed by James Gunn. The Supergirl movie is not. The Swamp Thing movie is not. The Lantern show is not. He's doing the Akira Toriyama thing where he's got like just a list of points that need to happen. So it's on him to hire competent writers to make it all, work. But if the Kryptonian plot goes a satisfying direction, I'm okay with the change. But if it just turns out that he watched Invincible and felt a little edgy one morning while writing the script,
that's what it feels like to me. But how can you?
I'm not denying that, because we don't have enough. Is my point. I'm saying I've seen James Gunn is batting 4.5 for 5 right now, so I feel like it's okay to trust the process,
But also, how do we wrap around this change with the fact that Kara doesn't seem to be very dictatorially minded?
Oh yeah, that would be issue number 2.
She doesn't seem to be responsible though either.
Also, Superman doesn't. This is another problem I have. People are like, not only does it make her look like an asshole, made him look like an asshole. So his cousin is like, and everyone keeps going, well, she's got trauma. That's why she's getting drunk. If you read Tom King's run, okay, so Superman knows his cousin is like really an alcoholic, and he's like, do your thing, girl. Are you kidding? That's not Superman.
Yeah, that's not how Superman deals with Kara. My thing, I said this.
Yes, Slay Queen.
I don't remember where I said this. I have a huge problem with. Okay, so like when Christopher Reeve played Superman, right? It was completely realized. Like he was like, this is Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. This is Superman. It was like, so like when I saw, Matt Reeves, the Batman, you get like these explanations where it's like, oh, he's actually not really Batman until the end of the movie when he realizes that vengeance isn't the way, he needs to be justice and all this. And it was like, same thing with Man of Steel and this. The character doesn't kind of feel all the way realized. Like there were points in times where you're like, okay, this feels like Superman. And then, you're kind of like, oh, he's getting it. He's getting there. I'm sick of that. Just let Batman be Batman. Let Superman be Superman. We don't need to have
that's what
soft introductions Like, and now granted, we don't need origin stories either. I don't need to see those fucking pearls fall ever again. But like a great example would be like what is it, like Batman Superman Apocalypse? You guys ever see that animated film? They're starting out, Batman's in a submarine and he's communicating with Superman in the sky.
Yes.
And they're looking for something. And I was like, you know immediately what's going on. You don't have to be like, whoa, who is this now? It was like these characters have been around for 80 years.
Yeah.
Plus.
Well, I felt like this movie did a good job of making you feel like Superman was Superman. It felt like he was realized. I legitimately did. You know, there are a lot of scenes in there where Superman is commenting on the actions of the Justice Gang, and there's a lot of scenes where you see them acting compared to each other. What is Superman doing during the fight with the monster? He's not fighting the monster. He's saving the buildings and saving the people and saving the animals.
Because he doesn't even want to kill the monster.
Yes.
He got pissed when they killed the monster, which felt very much like Superman.
Yeah. When they're fighting, Superman, there's a statement from Superman, it's like they don't even care about protecting people. Because they're all here, they're not caring about the collateral damage, they're destroying buildings, where Superman gets himself, like, caught on fire because he'd rather prevent the monster from falling on an unoccupied building. Because he doesn't want to cause too much damage. He's actively protecting the city as well as the people.
Another thing, too, is the blatant gunnery kind of, like, pissed me off. I was like, I don't want to watch a fight sequence in a Superman movie to, like, your 80s, like, punk rock shit. Like, that was cool in Guardians of the Galaxy.
If I can defend that scene.
No, that was through Lois's eyes.
Oh, that's what I was going to be my defense. That was my defense.
You know, like it just felt very out of place.
I really liked it. I'm sorry.
I thought it was good.
I thought it looked cool. It was a really cool scene. It's just it felt out of place.
Which one was it?
The last
Mr. Terrific fighting
that really bugged me is, guys, this was not a fucking Marvel movie. We don't need 2 after credit teasers at the exact same time that Marvel would put their teasers.
And not only that, they were both a waste of time.
Yeah, they were both bullshit teasers.
Yeah.
My mom, I was like, no, Mom, the second one will be worth it. It was nothing of value was.
I don't even remember the second one. I stayed for it. I don't remember it.
He's looking at the thing and it's slightly off, and he's like, huh.
Yeah, the building.
I think that's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be a meta
I thought it was
joke.
kind of funny.
I think it's supposed to be a meta joke about how, okay, we're trying this again. It's not going to be perfect, but we're trying again. Give us a chance. I think that's what they're trying to say there.
Now there was really one gunnery thing that really annoyed me. Stop putting scenes where people are talking to nighttime hosts. Nobody gives a fuck about those scenes, and usually they come off as dated. Thankfully, they didn't get a real nighttime host this time, unlike the past times where they get like Conan O'Brien to go onto a random movie. Or like
Gunn do that?
I don't know if Gunn's done that, but
that's just a bad movie trope in general.
A bad movie.
Get a real celebrity.
When they get streamers, you guys remember Free Guy? How they had streamers show up?
No, I never watched Free Guy. I never watched Free Guy.
It was a fun enough movie when it came out, but like they had 5 or 6 of live streamers who none of whom stream anymore, and it's like this movie's now just super dated.
Yeah, and just Clark Kent and Lois Lane arguing about like what bands are punk rock, and you're like,
that was fun.
That wasn't an argument. That part of their conversation was just banter, where she was like, "God, you're such an old farm boy."
Yeah, no, I understand, but I was like, it's just James Gunn just being James Gunn. I was like, dude, we get it. Like,
yeah, I can just really, without the
really like your music.
If you want to talk Gunnisms that are bad, for me in this movie, the Gunnisms that are bad is he's very bad at letting moments sit. He has bits and pieces where he absolutely needs to shove humor in. Hold on, I'll elaborate in a sec. I'm getting a phone call.
Right. I really feel like though the 2 bad Gunnerisms was the Peacemaker cameo and the Sean Gunn cameo. Those were egregiously bad.
Well,
I like the Sean Gunn one was good. It was a bit on the nose, but it's kind of like showing that, hey, we're trying.
I thought Sean Gunn was playing Maxwell Lord.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't really a cameo. He was just playing the part, and Maxwell Lord sponsors the Justice Gang.
Was that supposed to be Maxwell Lord who said that?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that they put a name next to it. I just thought Sean Gunn is going, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, everybody hates Lex Luthor. Shut the fuck up.
He's credited on IMDb as
Maxwell Lord. Yeah.
I thought, I thought that was charming.
Yeah, I did too.
I really
So
think
did
that
I.
was charming. That the most political, the most on the nose political line in the movie is saying everyone hates Lex Luthor. Other than that, like that's
Yeah.
I like that.
Now let's go back real quick. So our thoughts on Lex Luthor in the movie?
Oh wait, before we move too far from it, like I was saying, the Gunnisms. There were
let's
some
pick up
moments in the
Gunnisms,
movie.
sorry.
There were some moments in the movie that could have used a little more time to cook, but then a joke just sort of came smashing through the wall. In some cases, literally. For example, when Superman was ranting in Luthor's face and driving him to tears with his hope, and like Luthor was such a whiny little bitch man about it, and it was very satisfying to see. And then out of nowhere, Crypto comes crashing in and manhandles him and breaks his arm, and like the triumphant music cuts off and everything. I was like,
Well, yeah, that was the best scene in the movie.
We didn't need that.
Until
No, the
Crypto
best
showed
scene.
up.
Oh no!
Okay. Wait. You
needed
yeah,
Crypto to beat his ass because you couldn't have Superman beat
Lex
up
doesn't need
Luthor.
his ass beaten. Lex doesn't need to be physically beaten. That's the thing. Lex is beaten mentally and through personal through notoriety. Lex is not beaten physically. There is no need to physically injure Lex Luthor. Superman had already injured him more than he could have.
It was just very satisfying to watch him get thrown around a little bit.
Ruined a great debate scene where they were sharing their individual perspectives on the world, and then out of the blue comes Crypto to abruptly end the scene.
Oh, it was
happened
done.
after they started arguing.
I was a little. I was pretty. It was pretty satisfied after 2 hours of watching him be just like an insufferable prick this entire time. Just kind of get a little comeuppance.
I kind of find it funny how the dog who was made to chase VR squirrels manhandled and mangled the main villain's arm in this movie, but in Guardians 3, the raccoon experiment who got his entire body ripped off of his skeleton and put on an artificial metal one didn't want to shoot the dude who did it in the face. I kind of thought that was funny. Like how inverted those are.
Real quick, my wife was not a fan of comic books or comic book movies. Thought that Luthor character yelled too much in the movie and that delivery his lines needed more variation. I could see it. I liked Lex, but I wasn't like blown away. But I liked him, and maybe I do want to rewatch this movie. To be fair, which is one of the best compliments I can give, is that I want to watch it again. You know. But I like.
Yeah, I've since watched it twice. It still holds up. There, like I said, the parts I like hold up. The parts I don't like, I still don't like them. There hasn't been anything on that where I was like,
where you're like, oh, by the fifth time I see the genius. Yeah, all right, got it.
But this will definitely be a movie that I buy and a movie that I put on. You know what I mean? It's good enough.
Yeah, it's what it needed to be. Like I said, there's those two flaws, and they are glaring for the reasons I mentioned. But I think there's one scene Jeremy Johns actually made a good point about this scene. I haven't watched his full review, but the more I think about it, that one part where the thing is in the background and they're fighting it, I remember what they're fighting in the background more than I remember the conversation between Superman and Lois. Like, did we really need something going on in the background?
No, we didn't.
True.
No, I think that was actually a really important scene because that was Superman's crisis of faith scene. It wasn't like as glaring as many other movies is because it was only like half of the crisis in faith. Because on any other day, Superman would have been out there fighting the interdimensional worm or whatever it was. And instead of this one, he had to be home. He had to be there talking to Lois. They had to be having the conversation because that's what he needed, and he wasn't in a place where he could go out and save. And the point was, he was so shattered in his faith as a hero at that exact moment, he didn't feel like going out and saving people when he knows the Justice Gang's going to do a bad job.
I know. I did kind of like it. It was like, nah, it's just an extra dimensional imp. They got it. You know, like they can handle it.
Yeah, and it's also like that he's got, because you subconsciously he has the super hearing. Superman wouldn't warm the bench for a conversation. He's the convo on hold to do what's needed.
Normally, yes.
He's having like a crisis.
Yeah, I could see it. Here's the thing. I can see it with that, especially if it's like, yeah, they got it. But like, I don't know. To me, there's some things about that scene that I'm kind of like, huh. I don't know.
Dude, I really do hope that Kandor's like brought in and like everything we were talking about earlier, and like when he inevitably like enters the bottled city of Kandor, they're like, "Hey, Cal, you fucking."
Imagine that's what there's, because here's the thing. The one thing about James Gunn is A, we know he loves his comics, and B, he has already made it abundantly clear in interviews and like preliminary discussion material he's put out. He has an ending in mind for this universe if it's successful enough to get there. So
nice.
He's either going with the a lot of people theorize the ending in mind is Kingdom Come, because that's what David Cornsweat's emblem is made to resemble, the Superman Kingdom Come logo. Or with this evil Kryptonian twist, I think there's entirely a likelihood it goes the Master Race angle or takes elements of the.
But did anyone
Dark
like
Knight
that
Master
story?
Race. A few people did.
I thought it was panned critically.
The only part, well, here's the thing. It didn't get a fair shake. There's some bad elements of it, like Batman is an old man because it's the second sequel.
The third final Batman
sequel,
story, right?
And it is
This one's
a sequel
really
to
the
the Dark
last
Knight
one.
Returns. But because Batman is super old, they throw him into a Lazarus pit, so he becomes young again. He becomes young again, and then to make matters worse, Frank Miller exposes himself as a weirdo because one of the last narrative choices he does is pair him up with Carrie Kelly.
Okay,
I'm like,
listen. There's plenty of shit where Frank Miller has already outed himself as a fucking weirdo. Okay, down from swastika nipples all the way to Frank Miller's always been a weirdo. And didn't he already hook up with Carrie Kelly in The Dark Knight Returns?
No.
He was like, well, she wasn't underage, but she was like still. Look,
That's when she started wearing like the cat costume.
No, that's the second. That's Strikes Again, right?
Yeah, Strikes Again.
Strikes Back.
Strikes Again. He's already hooking up with Carrie Kelly.
All right,
See,
so,
you're expecting me to
Sergeant
remember
Giratina.
anything that actually happened in there.
Thank you for the $5. Sergeant Giratina said another thing Gunn got wrong with this movie is that he sidelined Metallo, Parasite, and Bizarro and copied off Superman 4 and Black Adam. I don't see it. How?
Sidelined Metallo.
You can't sideline characters that aren't in the movie.
Yeah.
Unless he's saying that there were roles that should have gone to those characters that were then given to other characters. So like they should have been there.
What did they take from Superman 4 and Black Adam, though?
Well, Superman 4, I mean, glaringly Ultraman is kind of like Nuclear Man.
You think so? How's he like Nuclear
Man?
Man?
He's kind of like this. But he wasn't like a direct clone of Nuclear Man. Wasn't a direct clone of Superman. It was just
Nuclear Man is the greatest villain of all time.
There's plenty of adaptations where Lex Luthor is directly responsible for Bizarro anyway. So I mean that's hit or miss. Metallo, I mean, I guess you could have easily just made Ultraman Metallo. You could have made Ultraman plenty of different characters, right? I didn't understand the Ultraman, like why they used Ultraman, because like we all know Ultraman to be of Earth 3 from the crime syndicate. To give him that name and then like not have him do that when there are characters like Metallo or Bizarro that would have fit.
Well, we couldn't have called him Bizarro, I don't think. I think making that Bizarro would have been a mistake, because what's Lex Luthor's going to walk into the Department of Defense like, look at my awesome dude over here who's nothing like Superman, who's called Bizarro.
Yeah, no,
every time
that,
Bizarro is made, he has to be accidental.
Hey, you could have did it with Metallo, no problem. It was like, especially when they were like, "Oh, we don't think there's any kryptonite left at the planet," and he's like, "Corgan," and then all of a sudden his chest opens up and it was like, "Well, I think there's a little bit kryptonite left, boys."
Yeah. I think, man. All right, so who would you want to see in? Because people are saying like, because he gets sucked in that black hole, that could easily be setting up Bizarro. I think it could easily be.
Yeah, that's what I think they're gonna do. But of course, the one issue though is how's the black hole gonna swap his vision and his breath power? because we
It's gonna
saw
have-
Ultraman use his laser
It's gonna have to
vision.
flip all that shit around. Yeah, and that was another spoiler too. We all knew who it was. The second he was like shooting lasers out of his eyes, it was like that's obviously a clone.
I don't think the clone's
No,
coming
because
back.
there are
I
other-
think
It
the
looks kind of like
MCU
Doomsday.
I think
right?
the MCU, from a media literacy perspective, has. I'm gonna just be blunt. I think the MCU, from a media literacy perspective, has
I know what
like
you're gonna say.
trauma raped so many people's brains to the point where they can't
Reverse
help but
vengeance.
see. They can't help but see anything as like a tease for next product. That clone's not fucking coming back. Come on.
You think so?
I hope not.
No.
Also,
Yeah.
I do like that you
No.
drew that parallel, Vaughn. Yes, Ultraman's costume was very, very similar to what
Doomsday.
Doomsday was originally wearing when he first appeared.
I
Yeah,
think
the
I know
clone's
someone was
not
annoyed that
coming back.
Ultraman is supposed to be like Earth 3 Superman. I was fine because I see this as the Earth. If they want to do the Earth 3 storyline down the road, they can. But I see as this is what our Earth 1 was, which is a shitty character that served his role in the plot. And another thing I liked, by the way, is that when we have a kaiju or something, it's just a kaiju or whatever, that not everything needs to be, this character, because you know why?
Yeah.
Because this kaiju is there to die. This clone is there to die, or it's there to serve this and James Gunn knows enough to know, hey, let's not take these characters that are beloved and do something and just wipe our ass with them. Let's just instead, this is just a monster. That's it.
I do appreciate that. That's one of my biggest things
Which is because I
I'm
was
killing
annoyed.
off all the characters, man.
I was annoyed by that in the Suicide Squad. What they did to Captain Boomerang, I was like, that was bullshit.
This
That
whole
was
debate,
bullshit.
this whole debate could be resolved if he just didn't name the clone.
Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not even not name it Ultraman, just not name it.
What do you mean? Did
Why-
he not name the clone?
Well,
no, because remember it was the Hammer of Boravia.
Oh yeah.
Leave it at that. Why the fuck is
Sure.
it named Ultraman?
Well, because I guess it's just two different. Because the Ultra Bravia was, or the Hammer Bravia was, like it was like an identity within an identity. He just needed.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
here's the thing.
Why is his identity Ultraman? Why isn't he just masked clone?
Well, and it's another thing too of like, even if that ends up not being the Bizarro, we've set the precedent that he can make clones. So who's to say that there wasn't another one that was being made and then gets messed up in the process when they try and stop it? And that's Bizarro,
Yeah.
right?
They put a little white monster in there, and
Now, I was reminded of one of the gunnisms that people have argued they think is cool. So, you remember the scene where they're fighting against the Baravians, and it's the Justice Gang fighting them? Well, what does Guy Gardner summon to knock over the tanks?
Middle finger, I like that.
Giant middle fingers, and I fucking hate that.
That's a very Guy Gardner.
Do you not know who Guy Gardner is? That's exactly
I know a
what he
decent
would
bit
do.
of Guy Gardner, but it's the kind of thing. It's the immature, mature humor that's so overused nowadays.
That's who Guy Gardner.
I get that.
You can't
I get
have
that.
Guy Gardner in your movie.
I
if he's
get
not
that.
gonna
Guy
do
Gardner's
that.
a piece of shit. He's that kind of person. But
I
like,
love
it was.
Guy Gardner in this movie. He's one of the best parts.
Oh,
of the movie.
I liked him too. And Nathan Fillion did a fantastic job. I just rewatched Serenity. And I just love Nathan Fillion.
Now, if only Isabella Merced's hot girl got anywhere near as good treatment. What? Who said that?
Well, she wasn't treated poorly. I don't think.
I think she was the weakest part of that trio.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
by a million miles.
Like
she was weaker, in my opinion, as a character. She was less compelling as a character than friggin' Metamorpho. And bro literally just noped the fuck out of the plot once he got his son.
No, and then he comes back at the end.
He comes back.
He was fighting in Baravia. But to be fair,
right,
I don't need Hawkgirl to get a ton of development because Hawkgirl's only there because she would be there.
Yeah,
I was expecting more from that one character in particular, and it feels like all the attention that could have gone to her went to Metamorpho or Guy.
But no,
or
the reason I'm
definitely
complaining
Mr.
about-
Terrific. Mr. Terrific is his
Real
favorite
quick,
side character.
guys.
Clearly.
Speaking of attention, we got a good lad here. I didn't know you saw Superman. I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone.
Yeah,
Zach.
buddy.
Zach,
What's up,
we hadn't
man?
talked about Superman yet. Give your quick thoughts.
All right, so I know there's a lot of talk, like 55. It's very divided. I honestly, I really liked it. I really liked it for what it was. Because there's a lot of moments in this film where, yes, you have that James Gunn style of directing that it did happen in it, but I think it worked to his favor because of the fact that Superman comics and the Golden Age and the Silver Age both had serious tones and very cheesy yet comical moments. Why? Because it's comic books, and I think the film really did touch those tones while showing the um beginning part of Superman's career with how his morals are, and how he has to handle those morals, and that they're challenged a little bit, but we'll get into it. So yeah, I generally liked the movie.
I do want to say that it's really funny that with the most divisive movie in the past several years, we somehow got a panel of only people who like it.
Yeah, and we're all not strangers to comic books either. We're all.
Well,
not,
I'm gonna go ahead and call it out. I get it is fucking annoying when people just critique something, like they watch a movie, then they fucking like boom boom boom. They'll say, "Hey, this is why it's shit. This isn't Superman or this yada yada yada." And it tells me, I'm like, well, if you read the Superman comics, did you just read the like fucking 2000 stuff, or did you really go deep dive into Superman? You read the old, the new, like in between. Like, did you really like actually read comics to really get the character? Because it's more than just, hey, I see the movie Superman and I now know who the character is, and this is why it's shit. Like,
Zach,
you don't even need to read a lot of comics, because admittedly, I haven't read a ton of comics, but I know about comics. I'm a comic book fan, and I know these characters. You can know them without reading all of their books.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, this is why like the back and forth like will start happening as we start getting into
You missed it. You missed it earlier, Zach. I said one of the things I detest is people. A lot of normies, like ultra normies, are using the clips from the Bruce Timm universe to say why the movie is bad. Like people tried to trash on Nicholas Hoult and David Cornsweet by comparing them to the Bruce Timm Justice League Unlimited, Lex Luthor, and Superman, when a lot of problems with the David Cornsweet Superman also apply to the Justice League Unlimited Superman. And then on top of that, the Lex Luthor in Justice League Unlimited is not Lex Luthor from the comics. The Lex Luthor in Justice League Unlimited is evil Batman.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say that necessarily.
Oh, please. No.
In some ways, maybe.
Trust me. In Justice League Unlimited, not in the entire Bruce Timmverse, but like the clips that they keep recycling are from Unlimited.
I guess.
That's why I'm, because in Justice League Unlimited, he becomes Mr. Contingency. Mr. I'm putting millions of dollars just into contingencies for all these superheroes I don't trust. Like he's just evil Batman.
He's not wrong,
and then at the end of Justice League Unlimited, he literally gives his life to stop Darkseid, which is another thing that Batman does in the comics. So I'm like, Bruce Timm just made Lex Luthor into evil Batman because he felt like it.
That's an interesting take. I hadn't thought of it.
It was still
I don't understand how you can be so critical.
Unlimited.
I don't know you can be so critical of Nicholas Hoult. He did a phenomenal job with this one.
Oh yeah, dude. I even liked the bits where he's like fucking throwing shit on the floor. He's making a pick it up.
That was my favorite part of him being Lex.
Yeah, then he knocks the cup over because he really sees, and it's the mannerisms too, where he's like, the way the actor played him, he really understood where it's like Lex Luthor really sees everyone around him as 100% beneath him. Yeah. So he treats them just as that, as dogs. And even his girlfriends, he's just
it's like you're
not even his women; they're just there as his pets. And I loved it.
What do you guys think about him calling out the numbers?
I don't know how I feel about that because I question. Yes, Lex is smart, but like, can his brain move faster than a speeding bullet?
Yeah, I think that
I
was
mean,
kind of like that's not really
Now here's
necessary.
my thing. Someone we mentioned earlier, Metallo would have been better than Ultraman in the right
Yes.
script. So we could have had like a brief exposition scene where it shows like the computer programming fight moves into him, 1A, XZ4, Q9, you know, like all of that. And then that would have made sense as to why he would like behave in a way to catch Superman as he's coming, you know, stuff like that. That
Well,
would have made sense. But like,
there
yeah, to
is
have Luthor
examples-
call it out is a bit weird.
There is examples of him doing that, like in All-Star Superman, where he's preemptively programming in the moves because he has to prepare for like the time delay because he's broadcasting his weapon. The reason that Superman becomes too saturated with yellow sun energy anyways, he biologically turns this person into a bomb, and then he puts on this mind control helmet and he's coordinating these moves. So he's already predicted what Superman was going to do even before he entered the ship. And because the ship, was so close to the sun and he was on Earth, he had to predict it 20 minutes before it was going to happen. He is that smart. You know what I mean? So, but having him calling it out like he's playing like fucking Tekken 6, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that are like you could pick apart, but it's not like a huge movie breaking thing.
No, not at all. A couple other things. One thing that did.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That's pretty. Yeah,
This is what Nicholas Hoult was using to fight Superman.
I am not a
Yes.
fan of Injustice narratively, but the art style and some of the character designs rule.
See, I don't
Yeah.
like a lot of the character designs in Injustice, to be honest.
Oh no, I love
I like it in
the
Injustice,
same way-
but not Injustice 2. The facial design.
Oh, the Injustice.
Injustice 2 fucked up the face so
The
bad.
Both,
same-
dude, both.
Yeah.
Neither game could get women's faces.
the same
No, they
way.
both struggled a little bit.
The same
going
way
on,
that
Caleb?
the same way that Marvel rivals with their Chinese anime future tech aesthetic makes every Marvel character iconic in their own way. Injustice kind of did the same, where it did like early 2000s edgelord action flick
See, but I don't
version
like
of the
that.
characters.
I
Yeah.
think that looks like shit.
For that, it was okay. When Zack Snyder started aping it really hard for his
I
cinematic
disagree
universe was
with
when I was
your-
like, hey, let's.
It looked armored. It looked practical. Now it looks better than it looks better than Mortal Kombat vs. DC did, though, where everyone's actually just wearing spandex.
Mortal Kombat vs. DC looked good. It just was. It just.
What did you
I
just
thought
say?
it looked.
It's an older game.
It looked good.
Mortal
It was a
Kombat
Yeah,
year
versus
older.
DC.
No, I
What
think it
do
was
you
2 years
want?
older.
Dude,
I'm not
look at-
affiliated
what
with
are you
this man.
talking-
I'm
what
not
are you
affiliated
talking-
with
first
this
of all,
man. I'm not
look-
affiliated
where's-
with this man. No.
First of all, look at Wonder Woman in that game, and then look at her in fucking
Okay, let's look at Wonder Woman in this
Injustice.
game.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
it's
pulling
really
up
gotta-
the-
I'm
he's
really gonna
pulling up
pull
the
it.
receipts.
You pull-
Here's another thing that I
She got
didn't
the,
like about the
the
movie.
jiggle physics, dude. She didn't have that in Injustice.
And just
Here-
like
here's
jiggle
something I
physics.
didn't like
Okay,
about
if you
the
looked at her
movie.
secondary skin, she had really big tits on her secondary skin.
All right, well, her secondary skin sucked. All right, Sammy 3P, continue.
They didn't have like a save the cat moment for Crypto, besides like in the very beginning where actually they show him to be like this unruly dog. They didn't have him like where he does something specifically to help out Superman, where he just kind of like looks over and goes, "Good boy." Like that was just something that bugs me. It was like, hey, if you're gonna have a movie with a dog companion, he needs to get one good boy in there. You got to get a good boy in there.
Oh, he wasn't a good boy the entire movie.
I know he was a pain in the ass, but as someone who has a giant unruly dog, it doesn't matter. They need.
Now, here's the thing. I think the reason why Crypto was so poorly behaved is it's kind of implied Kara's only been on Earth for a little while, and she just dumped Crypto on him. So Superman's like,
yeah,
barely had him.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, my problem is I just think Superman, Crypto, the disobedient dog thing got old after a bit.
Do we know who's making the Supergirl movie? Because that's
I don't know,
allegedly
but if
what
they keep her super Kesha the entire movie, I'm
is
gonna have a fucking problem.
making.
Yeah,
To
that's
be
the
fair,
thing.
that is how young women
Supergirl
act.
Woman
That is
of
an
Oh,
accurate
I'm
depiction of
sorry.
how
Are
young
we
women.
debating accurate women, or are we debating Supergirl? This is my.
Well,
my
remember,
Yeah.
it's this comic that's getting most of the adaptation. This
Yeah.
comic with Jason Momoa as the villain. Remember that.
I mean, I'm okay with Jason Momoa being the villain if he's playing Lobo. Jason
Okay,
Momoa
Yeah,
was
he's been
born to
directed
play
by
he's been
Lobo.
playing
Craig
Lobo for like
Gillespie. Who's
the
Craig
last 10
Gillespie?
movies.
Let me
he's
look
in,
this
he's been
up.
Lobo.
Okay,
He wasn't
hang on.
Aquaman. That's another thing. Like he was
Yeah,
not Aquaman.
He was
Like,
Lobo.
he was.
Yeah.
He was Jason Momoa playing a character in an Aquaman costume, but he didn't look or act anything like Arthur Curry.
It's a shame because Arthur Curry is one of the most underrated characters.
I agree.
I mean, this dude can fucking swim in lava. How cool is that?
Can he?
Yeah, at least in some continuities he can.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty fucking damn near indestructible.
Yeah, I mean, because he's in the ocean depths all the time. And it's just like, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
leave it to fucking Ivan
Injustice
Rice.
did Aquaman incredibly well.
Yeah, they did.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Leave it to Ivan Rice too to like revitalize that character and make him popular. And,
with
like,
Jeff Johns, yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna jump in here real quick, guys. I have it on good authority. I've done some quick searching. The director for Supergirl is gonna be. He's not writing it, but he is the director. He's gonna be a guy named Craig Gillespie, and he directed The Finest Hours, Chris Pine. I think it's a Chris Pine military movie. But then he directed the movie Cruella.
Cruella wasn't a bad.
Yes, the Disney classic where they tried to make a woman whose only wish was to make a coat out of 101 puppy dogs sympathetic.
Now here's what I'm most interested in. Anna Noguera is going to be the writer. What has she written?
Now, to be fair to the Cruella,
what is she
I
wearing?
don't know how good the
Is she
directing in
hot?
that movie was.
Oh yay! The writer of The Vampire Diaries is writing the movie.
Cool.
Dude, the movie. All right. So first of all,
anyways,
I haven't read Tom King's Supergirl yet, but just everything I talk about, where it's like it's about why is everything this man writes that I see about trauma or about someone feeling literally every panel I see from this guy, it's someone's like
that's who he is as a person. That's just he's a
being
very
a superhero
weak man.
is so hard. I can't see. Like
Yeah.
I could write like a little bit of. You've seen some of that in some of my writing, right?
To
but it's
be
not
fair.
the whole. There's an
Well, I mean, I think like, is it a thing that he is constantly on about? Yes. Now, I think when it comes to a lot of characters that actually do work, I think Supergirl it would work because she was there when Krypton was before man, I can't even talk to my braces. Sorry. She was there before Krypton exploded. She saw what was going on before she got blasted off into space. There is a huge trauma thing that they can actually explore, and hopefully and find a way to make it work with Supergirl, where she can stand out separately outside of Superman. And
So, all right. Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish. Or wait, are you still going, or because I just had a comment I want to pull? It's the only way people can separate character from being XX Superman. Is that true though? Is that really true?
Well, I discussed this before.
way-
Okay,
It's
it
not
work.
hard
Here's
to
how it can
differentiate
work:
her.
is she starts out, even though she's older, she started out older than Cal.
Yeah.
It appears that Cal is much older than she is now, which they've done that through. You know, she's been in stasis or whatever. It gives her character somewhere to go. So he's letting her. Superman is letting her adjust. She's obviously, suffered a major trauma by, like witnessing her whole planet grow up. He's going to teach her how to be a good like a superhero. It gives her, she's gonna go from this irresponsible party girl to the Supergirl that we know. That's fine if you want a character development. Another thing about Tom King, I had no problem with Heroes in Crisis because it was an interesting idea. The fact that he's managed to put that into everything else he does is what makes it problematic. Okay, I have no problem that Batgirl wanted to talk about the trauma of what it was like when the Joker shot her and paralyzed her. Probably very something, like interesting. I'm sure every superhero probably has something like that. If you isolate that would have been brilliant. The fact is he keeps bringing this stuff into all of his other writings where they're not afraid to like dump their purse out on the counter at any chance they get.
We did get a good visualization of the traumatic Supergirl. The DCAU did a very good job of showing Kara's growth as someone who was damaged and destroyed by the fact that her home planet's been ruined.
Yeah,
and she's been in stasis for 20 years. They did a really good job with that. And also, we did
Batman Apocalypse. She's like, I'm the only one. But then she has that montage. She's like,
which movie in the DCAU was it? Are you referring to the Tomorrowverse, the one that's like the one that just ended?
No, before that one, the original one starting with Flashpoint.
I don't remember her at all in the one that was Flashpoint.
Was she not? She wasn't in Flashpoint. No, I forget which movie.
It was the Tomorrowverse. That's the one that came immediately after. That's the one that came immediately after that started with Superman Man of Tomorrow.
I haven't seen that.
I watched all of the movies, so I don't fully recall.
I haven't seen that many of them. I stopped watching.
Disappointment of a universe, let me tell you.
I used to watch every movie until the New 52 stuff, and then I kind of started dropping off.
I've seen every single animated movie except for
not great.
I've seen all of them except for Crisis.
I need to see.
Don't watch Crisis. It's a cope and a half.
Such a disappointment.
Also, the worst one though is their Injustice animated movie. Not to go back to Injustice, but it's actually I hate Mr. T because of his involvement in that movie, and he's
Mr.
just a lame
T.
anyway. Mr. Terrific.
Mr. T.
Mr. T is not Mr. Terrific.
A lot of people. I've seen a lot of people, and I for a very long time referred to him as Mr. T. So I
don't do that.
I don't think either character would be offended by that association.
No,
like canonically, I think two of them would be okay with it.
Mr. Terrific in Injustice in the Injustice animated movie replaces the Flash.
Yeah, so they kill off the Flash in the most retarded way humanly possible.
He gets caught in the nuke because, of course, he.
Oh
does.
my god!
No. He gets trapped and killed by the Scarecrow.
You're right. He's trapped by the Scarecrow and then gets caught in the nuke because he can't escape because he's infected with fear toxin.
Either way,
I hated the Tomorrowverse because it looked like the animation style reminded me of like Archer, but every one of the characters just felt like muted in some way. They even knew that it sucked. That's why they ended it so quickly. But their interpretation of Crisis on Infinite Earths was so disjointed. Like the first two episodes or the first two movies are just so downright bad. Huh?
How many movies?
They broke Crisis into 3 movies.
It's a 3-part story. And unfortunately, that's the very last time that we get what's his face voicing Batman.
I gotta be honest with you. It really does slap you in the face with like all the work that has been done to accomplish, like all the type of things that not in this nostalgic way, but all the work that and different stories and variations of these characters. It just kind of throws it on the bus and like, hey, we're wiping the slate clean. This is the new universe. Like, I don't like that. I think it definitely rubs me off the wrong way because it just throws all the other shit. It's kind of like Disney doing what they did with Star Wars. They're like, hey, we're all this is no longer canon. This is old shit. We're wiping clean. That's how that scene, threw me into it. That's like, oh.
But now we also did get to see the good girl Supergirl. We got to see the Girl Scout in CW. Because while they did a decently poor job with her, that was the Girl Scout version of Supergirl. She didn't feel
like the feminist girl.
Yes, but she didn't feel like just XX Superman. So that's the point.
She did. She felt like corporate feminist Superman.
You remember when they put out the they put out the poster that announced Tyler Hoechlin was coming to the show, but the caption on it was like Supergirl, and it said that it was like a sub caption at the very top that said Superman comes in.
Yeah, I was like, I
Supergirl.
remember seeing that. People were like, what?
And then,
Yeah, I
and,
remember
then
that.
and then people were like, "What, bro? That's your cousin. What do you mean?"
Now, I admit I watched Supergirl for like.
That's not what
5
my dad
seasons.
said.
I couldn't get that far, dude.
Now, my favorite one
I
though
stopped
was
watching
season
a
3.
lot of the DC content. I should
Yeah.
read the comics more, to be honest. Than I've been reading mostly Marvel for the last however many years. I need to read more DC.
But my favorite thing about Supergirl though was in season 3 we had
Jesus,
what
how
is
did
his
you
name?
get that far? It was a drag to get even I think I got 8
But
episodes.
back then I was still
Holy
pretty
God.
lefty, and I was dude, I watched all of them.
It wasn't even just that; it was just bad.
No, dude, I watched all of them. When I say that, I mean all of them. I watched Legends of Tomorrow. I watched Black Lightning. I watched Batgirl. I watched
Black
all of them.
Lightning. I'd say Black Lightning season 1 was phenomenal.
Dude, the
It was-
first season
that
of
was
Legends of Tomorrow was
great.
peak.
It was.
I think
don't know if
Legends
it
of Tomorrow was actually
peak,
the
but it was
best of the
good.
shows. I think that one was it
Doom
was the best, and
Patrol
it
was
stayed the
good.
best.
I watched the first episode of season 2. I was like, "That's cool," and then I just never finished on that one.
But
I
no,
mean, even
in
Doom Patrol was solid.
You
too.
got
I
through
was
Batgirl? Good
impressed.
question. Did you get through Batgirl?
I got through Batgirl season 1, and it was Batgirl was the one that really started to have me like doubt if I should be doing it.
Batwoman.
You're
No,
right.
wait, was it Batwoman?
Batwoman.
Batwoman. Yeah, worst character. We
You
forgot.
Will be
fucking
when it
idiot.
fits the woman.
But no, I was actually like invested in all of the CW shows. I watched them when they came out on the CW app.
I
like,
did for
during
a
like
bit.
lunch.
And then I was like, you know what? That's enough.
But no, in season 3 of Supergirl, the villain is played by Sam Witwer, and it's Agent Liberty. But Agent Liberty is just a Trump stand-in, and he's like terrified because like aliens are taking over Earth and America.
Are the aliens actually taking over Earth? Or no?
So I'm gonna get there. So basically aliens kept invading, right? And kept hurting his family. Like his father was killed by aliens. His grandfather was killed. His father's industrial plant was destroyed after being taken over by aliens. They tried to employ aliens and they injured them. And he comes up with the idea that the president has been replaced with an alien. So he like builds a tower on the island they're living on, and wherever Supergirl operates out of, and it nullified all powers within the city. Like no alien powers worked. The season ends with Agent Liberty getting defeated and Supergirl meeting the president, who's played by Linda Carter, and is fucking an alien in disguise. He was
fucking
right.
an alien in disguise?
It was a fucking alien in disguise.
Oh,
so he said that the president had been replaced with an alien. The president had been replaced by an alien. He was correct. And he's supposed to be painted as the bad guy when every single thing he said was accurate.
That's wild.
All right. So anyway, back to Superman.
Sorry.
So no, it's okay. Yeah, no. For context, by the way, yeah, I used to watch all the DC animated movies more than I'd read the comics. To be fair, so it's just a similar vote. I don't know why. I just would, and then I kind of stopped like shortly after, like Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis.
I gotta say, I have to say this. I think when it comes to DC, and I find it really strange more with DC fans than Marvel fans, because DC during their like canon line will they will reset an origin story, or they'll redo a major story arc for the character in the
makes it
original
hard to
numbers.
get into.
So it's like
reason.
it's so
Easy but hard.
It's not that. It's kind of when they get mad over something. Why are you getting mad over a retcon when DC has been doing that? They would just kind of be like, "Oh, I like that origin story from Mr. Freeze a lot better. We're gonna make that the main canon now."
Wait, did no one see my silent sarcastic crash out? I was holding this up to emphasize what he said.
Yeah. I mean, like DC retcons a lot of their origin shit all the time.
So for those of you who don't know what this is,
oh yeah, that was Earth 2.
New 52,
right?
New 52 Earth 2 is one of the coolest concepts ever, but because New 52 became a continuity clusterfuck, it didn't stand a chance.
Well,
you can get
was supposed to fix that, was it not?
It did not. It did not. Its solution for these characters was to just forget they existed and leave them to die.
That's
The
amazing.
best you got was Val-Zod with a beard showed up in the death metal storyline. That's all you got. The black Superman with a beard showed up in the, and it sucks because it has like a lot of really here. Hold on, let me find the very first. Yes, this is the New 52, Earth 2, right? Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman with distinct costume differences, right? That's because this Trinity is going to get murked by
Like the first
Apocalypse in the very first issue. It's going to get murked by Apocalypse. And so what you end up with is you have Superman, not Superman. You start off with the Flash, and he is not from the Speed Force. He gets his powers from the god, one of the Amazonian gods, who gives him speed.
I only have a handful of New 52 books, and I got them at like half price books for like $1, and they're all these holographic cover ones.
Yeah. So wait, anyway, we keep getting off track. Let's get back to the Superman movie. Because I want to talk about this stuff, but I want to talk about Superman. So Superman, because that was the title of the stream. So Superman, I think overall, because we keep talking about DC universes and how they're flawed in some areas, good in some. I think this universe is going to be the same. I think there's going to be characters that we think are great and characters we're not. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm worried about Hal Jordan. Worried about him. Hal, you going to be okay?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
He seems all right. So the Lantern show, which first of all, why
yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, in what context? I was like, did he leave you a voicemail saying like,
no, Hal Jordan is not real.
Kyle Chandler, Hal Jordan, peak casting though.
Is it though? Because the guy, because Hal is like, so we're having a retiring Hal Highball Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, dude, how many fucking times Hal Jordan gave up the ring? Like, I mean, let's be real here. Hal is kind of a bitch in the comics. Like,
I don't know if he's a bitch.
No, I'm gonna keep it real because I read a fuck ton of Green Lantern stuff. Hal Jordan annoys the hell out of me as an individual, as a character, because he would be like, I love Carol Ferris, but I don't know how to break the news to her. How am I supposed to balance a superhero life and yet being Carol Ferris's life? Shit, let me give up the ring. And then he gives up the ring, and then he goes, fuck, I'm actually Green Lantern. This is part of who I am, right? So he tells Guy Gardner to step down. So, oh, sorry, Guy, I'm going to step back in. And then he gives up the ring again. Here comes Jon Stewart. Then he's like, sorry, John, I'm back in the game now. I'm the OG Green Lantern. Comes back in the game. Then, like, dude, he does his own
I didn't know all
thing.
that. Yeah, because I've only read some more
Well,
recent.
Vaughn, I mean, if you read the comic book.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, okay.
I know my blind
There you
spot.
go. That's a perfect example. I was arguing with people when they showed, when Nathan Fillion had his hair and he's got the bowl cut. And I was like, hey, he only had that for like a small amount of time in his continuity.
That haircut should be against your vows.
Well, did you hear the reason why?
And everyone's like, no, that's part and parcel to his character. I was like, no, he's been around since like 68, dude. And for the most part, he has like a crew cut. He doesn't have. That was just, I guess, an acceptable haircut for characters to have in the late 80s and the early 90s. But it was like they kind of kept it around because like that's where people like know him from. But it was like, no, he doesn't even have one now. Like he has like a buzz cut. He has a Marine haircut. Like,
well, to be fair, James Gunn said they only used that haircut because he wanted an excuse to put Nathan Fillion in a bowl cut.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. And that's funny. That's fine. But I was like, it's the same type of fan when I was arguing today. Like I had someone like try to use like a quote from like Smallville, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. It was like, okay, all right, Smallville is Buffy the Vampire Slayer with superheroes. Okay,
let's be careful here. Let's be careful where we step.
Watch your mouth, boy.
You best not be insulting Buffy.
I haven't watched much Buffy, but I've seen the first season of Smallville, and I was like, I mean, this is all right.
No,
yeah, it's Supernatural. It's the X-Files. It's all that shit. It's
watch where you step, my guy. Sammy's in a minefield right now.
One of the only good things to come out of the CW verse during that was during their Crisis on Infinite Earths moment. They had like
See, I
a
didn't even get
3-minute
that
scene.
far.
They had like a 3 minutes. They adapted Crisis on Infinite. Well, adapted.
Oh yeah, where they
Fattest
bring
air
her back.
quotes ever. And there's like a 3-minute scene where you go to Smallville verse, and it's basically 3 minutes to say everyone you know and love here is fine. They all had happy endings.
Yep.
Anyways,
they
we're
do that.
leaving.
They hop to all the different shows that are like tangentially related. Like they go to Lucifer because Lucifer is the Vertigo property, but it has
It's
nothing
Earth
to do with DC.
666.
And so they go over there because why not? It's there. They own the property. It's a part of DC. So like Lucifer is just in the show randomly.
Yeah, I haven't watched that Crisis because I didn't keep up. I think the part I dropped Arrow. Sorry, and then we'll get back to Superman. But where I dropped Arrow was I was watching the show for like a whole episode where he's running from Amram. Goes, Jesus, this show was supposed to be about action. I was like, why am I watching?
You know, Vaughn,
this?
we should rewatch the CW verse and discuss it.
I'm not gonna be part of that.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah, it sounds painful.
It'll
I'm
put
gonna
me
be
in
honest,
a crisis of
I'm,
mental health. I'm
Yeah, I've seen. You know, it's okay. Can we read like some Green Arrow comics and stuff?
good.
Now with the
Here,
Green Arrow show,
Mike-
I am worried they're gonna go into Jessica Cruz and just like girl boss her.
Jessica Cruz. You mean Green Lantern?
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, you
Yeah,
said
you
Green
said
Arrow. You said Green Arrow.
Green
at
Arrow.
first. You threw me
Oh,
off too. I was like, wait, we're getting a Green Arrow show too?
I always
When was
do
that
that.
announced?
I
What is
always
Jessica
say the
Cruz
wrong
gonna
one.
be in? Was Jessica Cruz announced?
She hasn't been, but I'm worried that they're gonna go towards Jessica Cruz.
Well,
and fuck
Jessica
with her.
Cruz is not. I don't think we have to worry about that. So
Her name is
okay,
Limelight, right?
I don't know.
Something
So
like
Guy
that?
Gardner, real quick. So Guy Gardner, we all are liking him. We thought he was great.
Yeah, he was great. I think he was fantastic.
I think
Yeah.
him, Mr. Terrific. I think the Justice Gang in general is good.
I think
You know-
Isabella Merced, Hot Girl, could have gotten more.
She could have, but I think the fact of the matter is the fact that we want more is good. She served her function in the movie, and that's about it. How do we feel about her killing the dictator?
Dude, Hot Girl.
It's in character for Hot Girl. Hot
Yeah.
Girl murks the fuck out of people on a regular basis, and the Justice League just kind of pretends to not see. So if we have to have a problem with it here, we have to have a problem with her in every continuity.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking
It's like-
forward to the consequences. It'll open up
Yeah.
a really good door for them to debate ideology in the next project
And give her more to do.
And if they
Now,
just
here's
if
my
they leave
question.
it, I'm gonna be sad.
Here's my question: what do y'all think of her screeching like a bird?
I didn't.
It's
I wish they would have picked a different screech. It was kind of.
I don't even remember that. When did that happen? Because it keeps
She
seeing the memes
screeches
of it.
throughout
It happened
He's
like
killing the guy.
It happened like 3 times in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Whenever she was gonna like bum rush someone, she'd go like squaw and then get up. his
Yeah,
ass.
it wasn't an intimidating.
Well, no,
squawk.
my problem is she's not an actual bird lady. She's a fucking alien. She
Yeah,
just has
she's-
wings
Yeah.
that arbitrarily resemble a bird. So she calls herself
so,
Hot
like,
Girl to endear herself to
are we-
humans.
Yeah, she's
All right. So
Hungarian.
are we not gonna sit here and pretend that like Hawkwoman would always scream right before she go into battle, and then when
It
she was
was-
doing the film, now it's a problem because it's
No,
not a
no,
great-
no,
No, that's not
In
the problem that
Bruce,
she does that.
If
It's
you're
not a
citing the
great
Bruce
scream.
Timm verse, the
Yeah,
Bruce Timm verse is
It's
her
not just the
screaming a
Bruce
battle
Timm verse.
cry. It's a
Yeah.
battle cry. She's going, ha! She's not going,
Yeah.
ha!
Okay,
She's
okay,
not
I'm
doing
gonna
that.
defend it. First of all, we don't know if this is the alien Hawk Girl because there are 2 different kinds of Hawk Girls.
That's true.
Well,
You're
they're
right.
all
You're right.
kinda-
You're right.
Some of them
You
are
could be-
created by a meteorite, yes, but so technically still kind of alien. But also, the noise she's making is specifically that of the peregrine falcon, which is the most dangerous bird in the universe or on Earth, because it literally it has the
universe.
ability. Yeah, well, in our known
sounds
universe,
dumb.
the peregrine falcon is able to dive bomb, and it makes that noise when it dive
Okay,
bombs. It
that
can hit
might
things
be
at like
cool.
100 miles an hour
That
and
may
just
be
stab
cool.
its neck when it
Hold
grounds
on,
it.
I understand what you're saying. However, no one knows that.
Yeah,
Dude,
no.
I know what
If
it is.
you
I'm
show
just
up,
saying
if you
no
show
one
up in a
knows that.
penis-shaped car and
Also-
go like, yeah, but it's got like this really great engine and like a heated steering wheel, like, yeah, that's cool, and I'm sure it drives really well, but it still looks like a giant penis-shaped car.
I'm gonna
Like, I don't
I'm
want
gonna be the
to. I don't want to
granular-
ride in the penis-shaped car.
I'm gonna be the granular dickweed here. Is her name Falcon Girl?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's a
I
good
love
point.
it.
It's a good
Mic
point.
drop.
But
I
no,
don't know.
no, I
Like,
think
I'm
it works
sorry.
because also every version of Hawkgirl I've ever known has always done like a screech whenever
A
she enters
battle
combat.
cry. There's a
Yeah.
battle cry,
A
and then there's
screech.
a
Nope, the
screech.
ones that I've known, every single one I've
so
known
now
has
we're
done
gonna
a
get into
screech.
now we're gonna get into fucking particulars. Like,
I'm just
oh well,
saying.
now it's technically not a cry because she's actually screeching.
I
Like,
didn't say I'm
if
gonna
Isabella
kill James
Merced
Gunn
was
and I
just
hate the
going-
movie. I
if
just
Isa-
said I thought the
No,
scream could
I
be
get
more
it, I get it. I
intimidating.
If
just find it
Isabella
funny. It's
Merced
such a
was just
weird-
like yelling at the top of her lungs, like one of the warriors in Lord of the Rings or something, then yeah, that'd be one thing. She is full on like chirp screaming.
She sounds like a bird. She sounds like a bird. She's a
I
fucking
think that's
bird
goofy.
lady.
Yeah,
I think that's goofy.
She becomes Rob Schneider in the anime.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, personally, for me, had no issue with it. I honestly thought it was absolutely in character. I thought it, like, even it didn't matter. Like, on the sound didn't bother me. Like, I just thought it was as is. I mean, like, as exactly what like some of the other people are saying is really like, had no issues with it. So yeah,
That's just the one thing I had a problem with, honestly, with her. That was it. Like the one thing she did that had me going like, it literally like took me out of the moment because I shit you not. If you guys know a continuity or an incarnation that bird noises, good for you. I have yet to see one.
I have.
So I'm like,
I mean, it's kind of like it's the same thing with like, I'm not sure how I feel about Lex Luthor playing a fucking video game with an idiot clone of Superman. It's like, all right, but you know what? That is kind of comic booky. Like,
Yeah.
like,
That's the thing.
It really is. Like, it's like, all right, this
Sorry,
man is so
Sammy.
fucking
Sorry,
smart
Sammy.
that within a span of seconds, like seconds to spare to go up against a guy who's super fast, that his intelligence is matching his brawn over like over this like video game like like I don't even know because I'm just kind of like I mean like it is one of the most comic booky films I've seen.
And I love that.
While.
Yeah,
And
I do love that.
I prefer that over the alternative.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I mean, like,
Yes.
dude, I even like the fact that Superman actually gets hurt because he was fighting himself. But like, even his definition of getting hurt is like he can still break things in his body, but he can heal faster than most.
Now, I do want to ask. Okay, since we're talking about comic book stuff, how do we feel about the pacing of the movie?
That had issues.
Hit or miss.
They said that there was 25 minutes cut from this film, and I think it really would have benefited to have a couple of them because, like we said, there was a couple scenes that really needed to breathe more. There was a couple of things where, so you know how the movie starts. It was like, it's been 3 minutes since he lost his first fight or everything. Maybe a montage of him actually winning those things, or maybe a montage of Lex Luthor actually putting together his plan. All of this felt very contrived because you didn't get to see any of that stuff. That's where I was talking about like the more realized like character. So like when Christopher Reeve played Superman, you got a good like 20-30 minutes of him like being Superman and like catching helicopters and everything. It was like it wasn't till halfway through the movie where he gets the kryptonite necklace on and then they push him in the pool and you watch him struggle. Like it's kind of hard to get the idea how powerful Superman is if you're watching him struggle right from the get. Like, you know what I mean?
So Sammy, I gotta interject. How many of us in the fucking world know who Superman is? How many of us have to get told again and again that it's his weakness? Or how many times do we have to show him doing Superman-y things? Like, I'm sorry, but like, even as a comic book fan watching the movie, I'd like to kind of skip through some of that shit because I'm getting tired of seeing it getting told over and over again at the same spot.
I didn't say we had to watch him come into the spaceship. I'm saying it's just simple. It has nothing to do with not knowing Superman is it's just the flow of a film. Zach,
No, I agree with Zach entirely. I don't think we needed to see Superman
Yeah.
winning because we know Superman can win. We know
Yeah.
how utterly powerful Superman is. Now, what I was more curious about is like a lot of shit happens in this movie, and this movie takes place over 3 days. And while I
Yeah.
think it was very jam-packed, I do think that helps with the comic book feels, and we're talking about that. And more importantly, this is supposed to be like the worst week of Superman's life ever. And the fact that so much happens, I feel really pushed in the fact that Superman's getting pushed over the edge. If the movie felt slower, it would have lessened the impact that we felt on Clark.
Yeah,
Because
and
we're
I
supposed to
think
be overwhelmed.
the fact that we only saw one scene of him really in his Clark Kent thing actually worked. Actually, like, here's the thing. The few things that you can nitpick, I do think most of it is nitpicking. I think the overwhelming majority of this, I loved. I really loved it.
Absolutely.
Like, I really love this movie, which is why those, again, what they do with the L's and whatever really sticks out to me. But as annoying as that is, I am willing to overlook it because of all of the other stuff. Like, I am
By the way,
so
Cat
happy.
Grant
I was like
ruled.
happy if it wasn't the no, I think Lois was hotter. Cat Grant, the fake blonde hair, it's like
Rachel Brosnahan was real hot.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna agree.
So actually, I thought the hottest one in the whole movie was what was it, Elle or Ellie?
I mean,
Shrimp
No,
Toast.
she's so fake. She's doing duck lips the entire time. But
So,
you know,
there was
how impressive is
Mutant
it?
Toes.
Either way, I just love how they were all falling over Jimmy Olsen. Like Jimmy Olsen,
But
like
also-
just has like this
Really?
incredible whiz.
Chad
How
Lad.
awesome is it that we just get to talk about the fact that this movie just has really hot girls in it? Like,
Yes.
what's her face? She was nothing but eye candy. She had one speaking line, and during the speaking line, she's putting makeup on.
Oh,
other reporter.
That's Cat Grant.
Yeah, Cat
Cat
Grant.
Grant.
Cat
Yeah,
Grant
which
was
is
there.
versus the Supergirl version where she's Miss Feminist.
Yeah, no,
So-
and that's how Cat Grant is supposed to be. Like,
She's supposed to. Yeah, the Supergirl show was like, we're gonna make her this. No, Cat Grant is supposed to be a bimbo. The fact that she is like obvious fake blonde hair that's like really bad.
well, she is that bimbo though. Like, she's like the gossip.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You know, like she talks about, like, you know, like if Bruce Wayne showed up in Metropolis, that's what she would be reporting on.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Like,
exactly.
Eligible
Perry
bachelor.
knows which people to hire for which categories of news.
Lombard.
By
And
the
that's the
way,
thing. Like,
by the
everyone
way,
was
by
good.
the way,
Lombard was good. Everyone.
By
was
the
good.
way, I have no problem with it. I just think it's funny how the two main live action movie versions of the character, Perry White, has been black both times. I just think that's funny.
except for the last two, yeah.
Snyder and Gunn both made
Perry
him a black
Black.
dude. Perry White is a black guy in the two mainstream universe movie versions. I don't know what the Supergirl one is. I don't know what the Superman and Lois one is. I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know if Perry White shows up in Superman.
Yeah, I mean he's white in the Christopher Reeves one, but
I gotta say that, like, the fact that Jimmy Olsen's getting a TV show, I'm actually interested in watching it because I like to think that they're going to treat it as if it's Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. Like, really,
Yeah, that's what I'm.
and I'm saying this was a really likable Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
Like, even going all the way back to the Christopher Reeves movie, Jimmy Olsen was kind of like a push away character when, like, I don't know, like when I first started like reading the comics, Jimmy Olsen got into some shenanigans, son.
So I'm gonna keep it. Fun fact about it: Superman, the title Superman's Pals Jimmy Olsen was actually one of the most popular mags to read for a Superman adjacent magazine.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Because of the fact that a lot of the creators, writers, and artists would whenever you would have to break an artist in, or
It was like a proving ground.
Exactly. It was like, hey, think of the most corniest, like funniest thing you could do and make it work. And like, there you go. And they did. Like, they just were able to go ahead and have fun with it. It was,
dude, Dark Side
which is
first
great.
show. If he shows up, people are already speculating that Dark Side is going to show up in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen because in the comics, that's when he first shows up.
Do you guys
And
know?
that's
Do you guys
I gotta
know
say,
that,
it feels very Silver Age, which I guess is
I
part
like
of
it
why,
though.
Which I guess is why, again, Supergirl stood out, is because otherwise it's so old school classic. I really loved this movie. And I just like, that's the problem with the algorithm is I'll post my critiques of it. Like, I didn't like the Supergirl, I didn't like this. And that's all people are going to see. No one's going to see all the positive things I'm saying or all the things that I loved. And it drives me crazy because I loved this movie. Like, I really did.
One of
And
the
I want to
funny
see it again.
things regarding my personal, I say relationship to my knowledge of Jimmy Olsen. You guys know the black and white Superman show from the 50s?
Yes.
Yeah, the George Reeves.
Yeah. Did you guys know that Kellogg's unintentionally endorsed homosexuality in the 1950s because they pruded so hard that they got gay? Let me explain. They were trying to advertise their cereals, right? So they were like, cool, Clark Kent gets up in the morning to have breakfast in his apartment with someone, but he needs a side character from the show. So, oh, we can't have Lois there because that implies they had sex. I know. We'll have his male coworker there instead.
Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen. And so like the narrator, if you watch like the documentary that talks about that show, the narrator's like, funnily enough, Kellogg's didn't have a problem with two men waking up in the same apartment for breakfast for the same reason.
No,
I just think it's a funny thing. It's something I laugh at.
I'm curious because we've done a lot of like praising this movie, which it deserves all the praise it gets, but I'm curious what people might think are some of the bigger weaknesses of the movie.
Well, I already talked about mine. Is the L's in Supergirl.
I'm going to fight you tooth and nail on that Supergirl critique until we see the movie. If her movie comes out and it's just as good as this, if not better,
let's see. In the context of this movie alone, it doesn't work. If it sets up something that works, fine. But in the context of this, it makes Superman look like an asshole for neglecting his drunken cousin.
Yeah,
it makes Supergirl look like an asshole. In the context of this movie alone, Supergirl is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, she was out partying why Clark was having the worst week of his life and getting the shit kicked
and
out.
she never asked him how his week was.
She was too drunk. She comes stumbling in.
And then she calls him a bitch.
Wake up in the morning looking like P. Diddy.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on a second. That song did not age well.
Oh, that's why she re-recorded it.
No, I did that the other day where I just played that thing and then all of a sudden I hit you with the Law and Order. Dun dun.
Yeah.
Kesha recorded that, by the way. She made it wake up in the morning like fuck P. Diddy.
I am interested to see like what's gonna happen. What is the Batman choices for this universe? I am curious.
What we know
I don't want
is
them
that
to go with the old grizzled Batman again when they say I want Batman and Superman to be similar in age.
What we know is they're gonna be like this. He's gonna be like well into his career. James Gunn used the term Bat Family and talked extensively about Damian Wayne.
I'm 100% okay with that. Bring it on.
I'm all right with it.
Yep.
See, I'm not okay with that because I never forgave Damian for killing Nightwing in Injustice.
Yeah, I mean, that's
fucking Justice. Fucking
yeah, it's like an Elseworld comic.
I've never liked.
I never forgave Dracula.
I say that with those right behind me.
Yeah, no, I've never liked Damian, and that was just after reading reading that, I'm like, fuck, I hate this guy now. He just killed my favorite Bat Family member. Fuck that.
Yeah, I never really.
That's
I
like
need
an
to read the right
Elseworld.
Damian stuff.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can't judge anything based on Injustice, dude.
Yeah,
no. I already hate Damian.
I didn't like Dracula because he bit Batman and Red Rain, and
I've always hated Damian. It's just that was the final now. I'm like, fuck it, I can't.
I never liked Damian because I loved Tim Drake.
Comic Damian is never going to get any respect from me because he was made to 1v1 a clone that was born less than a day prior, and he lost.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, how do you lose to the post-fetal version of yourself? When you have Bruce Wayne as a sensei, like, what's your excuse at that point?
He got killed by a clone of himself.
The clone that was only alive for like 24 hours.
Yeah, the heretic.
See, I didn't
And
read
also-
that. I just remember being excited when they killed Damian Wayne because and maybe I need to read the right comics, but everything I've read with him, I'm like,
I mean, like in the
I-
DC animated movie
I liked
universe, but-
Batman and Son. I especially liked
New
it when
52.
Dick took over the mantle.
New 52, Scott Snyder. That's the best Damian Wayne you'll get.
I heard that run
For
is
now.
great.
Yeah, it was.
I gotta-
And you know, when Bruce is gone and Damian and Dick are the way that they develop their own type of fighting style together, that was pretty cool. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, he's a whiny little shit. You know, he's yeah, I but like I said, if we do that and we already get Tim Drake and Nightwing as well, I would be okay with it.
I mean,
And
honestly,
they
like,
don't have to do much. Like you know, they do it in like Under the Red Hood, where it was like, who's the pretty boy
But-
flipping around? Oh,
so
that's
here's the
Nightwing. He
thing.
was the first Robin.
So
You
here's
know,
the thing,
like-
because like I know it's a whole different discussion in itself. I think time frame is of the essence with that and with Batman because you know what is actually the right age to put him at to have the Bat family as a whole, because each member you start tacking on shows years in age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Superman's about what? Like
Nightwing,
33 in
Batgirl,
this?
and one Robin. Tim Drake.
Wait, no, hold up.
Tim Drake. Now they're gonna do Damian Wayne, which is
There's another
so-
problem.
If I were to
Damian-
do a Batman movie, it'd be A Lonely Place of Dying. Would be my dream Batman movie. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. My dream Batman movie.
There's
ever
also a
got the
Would
problem
you still
with-
give Dick the ponytail?
No. I'll give him the. No, I wouldn't give him that outfit. You know what outfit I'd give him?
For
one that
me,
makes his ass look big?
it would be Black Mirror, Batman Black Mirror.
I don't think I've read that one.
It's
man,
the one
dude.
where
Oh, it's
it's
good.
the one
Oh,
where
it's very
James Gordon Jr. gets his like villain debut.
Yeah.
Like he gets medically neutered and is like a side character who helps Batman solve mysteries from then on. But at the
Wait,
beginning,
why
of
the
his-
fuck do they neuter Jim Gordon Jr.?
Because
Because he's a
psycho killer.
Because he's not like the Joker, but he's Dexter. He's Dexter.
I was gonna say he's Hannibal. He's
Hannibal and Dexter combined
but-
and even scarier. So he needs to take medicine so he doesn't just like randomly fucking kill people. Because
Wait, okay,
I
to
would-
be clear, you don't mean he literally gets neutered, right?
No.
he's
I mean
chemically
medically.
Okay, 'cause
he
I-
has to take pills to like turn his brain off because. his
Oh,
brain
I
is
thought you meant like he
strong.
got
Castrated.
My bad,
No,
my
no,
bad, my bad, my
castrated.
bad, my bad.
I
He's
was like-
mentally-
chemically castrated.
He is one of the smartest people in Gotham, other than Batman and the Riddler. But because the more of his intelligence he allows to run free, so then does his like sadistic.
Yeah, I thought you were just
psychopathy.
unveiling a writer's
So he needs
secret
to.
fetish to
So Batman, Wayne Tech created a drug that literally turns off his smart brain and psychosis at the same time. Which, yes, is technically a plot hole because, like, why the fuck is everyone in Arkham not on that drug? But like, fuck it. Black Mirror is a great story because it's Batman versus Dexter. Okay, so
Well, it's technically not a plot hole because it's tailored to him, right? So you can argue that.
yeah,
Also-
yeah.
Yeah, it'll help you sleep better at night.
Yeah, you can argue. Like I said, you can argue
Black
anything
Mirror.
is a
Black
plot
Mirror
hole.
is a great story.
That
I
would be
would like-
mine if I made a movie.
We should
I
do,
would
do
really
more
like
Batman
to see
discussions
something with,
or
like-
comic
I
discussions.
would
on
really
here.
like to see a Batman movie with like Dollmaker or Professor Pig. Just like
Ooh.
go full fucking scary.
See, I need to read more with them too. We should do honestly more just like comic discussions. Like a Coleman and Crew, I want to be a
part two
recurring
might be
thing.
that.
I wanna
Oh,
be
yeah,
more
dude, I'm
recurring
down.
thing. All right,
It
sounds
might
good.
be.
And like I said, we're gonna be getting into the villain breakdowns on Cavecast pretty soon here too.
Nice.
So,
I keep getting stuff. If I'm not like at a con, I'm scheduled to work during that time, so I keep not being able to make it. which
no,
sucks.
it's all good. I'm honestly thinking about changing the time. One, I don't like waking up and like getting
On
a stream
Saturday?
together first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then like I end up going like
Saturday
I end up
night.
having fun when we do the streams, but like I'm sitting there having coffee, like fucking around in StreamYard, and then I'm going like, I don't want to do this. Eventually I do like to do it because I love talking about Batman, but like I don't it's weird. I don't like starting up my weekends like being like pissed off about like one of my favorite superheroes.
I mean, if you did it Saturday night, I'd be able to actually make that.
Well, yeah, but then I got to do shit on Saturday night, you know. I got stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to figure it out. I might move
Yeah,
it to
scheduling
Wednesday
is such a
nights,
pain
yeah.
in the ass, dude.
It really is.
Like that's why I haven't had a weekly show for the longest time. Is even just finding this time slot, finding a perfect time slot is tough. But okay, so overall, everyone is happy. We're looking forward to DC stuff. We're looking forward to more in this universe, right?
Yeah.
I am cautiously optimistic, but I can very easily see them fucking it up very soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I
to
just looked up how the director of Cruella and the writer of the Vampire Diaries who are making the Supergirl movie. So take that as you will.
So this was fun while it lasted. Well, we got one good movie out. No,
One good movie out of it.
Like,
One
here's
good movie.
My whole thing is I think that James Gunn, I trust a lot. You know, like I said, I have my things, but otherwise, I'm very happy. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I think a 7.5 out of 10 or to an 8 is good, but that's what I wanted. And what most importantly, you got the characters right, minus the L's and Supergirl, but it got the characters right. And it got even down to the point where it's like, what do you think of Hawkgirl doing this? It's something that she would do. What do you think of Guy Gardner doing this? It's something he would do. How often can you say that when you watch one of these movies?
Not very often.
It's incredibly rare. And like
Metamorpho was great too. I love it.
I enjoy. I was so happy that they nailed Metamorpho.
I was
Even down
floored
to
that he
his,
got so much
wife.
screen time.
And
Down
there's
to
a
his
lot-
wife, right? Wasn't what's her name? Stag in the. I missed her, but it wasn't his
Rex.
wife in it?
What is it?
No, right, but what's the wife's name? It's something Sapphire Stag.
It's something like that.
You've left me behind because Metamorpho is a guy I've only ever known as a side character, so I don't know anything about his lore.
He's in the Justice League. There's a 2-parter on him in the Justice League show.
He
Sapphire
gets
Stag,
screwed over pretty hard by Simon Stagg.
Yeah, dude, he was like, because it seems to me like he was very prominent in the older comics, and then I haven't seen him for most of them.
Well, yeah, he was big in like the Outsiders and things like that, like back in the day, and then and he had like a pretty rich history. It's one of those characters where he almost is too powerful. Like, you know, like he can. I mean, look at he's just sitting in a cell with Superman. He can turn his hand in a kryptonite.
Yo,
you know,
by the way, I want to say I love that they've actually made kryptonite like scary.
Yes.
Because I was so sick of like there's so many things where he just goes like, where it's like, oh, mildly inconvenienced. No, I want kryptonite when he's around it to be like am I not Superman? I want it to be like terrifying when it's around.
Yeah, it burns
Did anyone ever watch the show The Batman?
I've
From
seen
a
few
like
episodes.
2004 to 2008, I want to say is when it ran. There's a scene where Superman gets mind controlled by Lex Luthor because he blows poison ivy mind control vapors laced with kryptonite dust into his face. So he gets him to like do what he wants for a second. And so he sicks him on Batman to get him off his tail. And in order to get him off him, Batman peels down his uniform and drops like a dime-sized chunk of kryptonite down his shirt, and it almost kills him because it immediately shuts off all his powers and makes him crash down into a.
I know
like
they did similar to that in one of the animated movies.
And that's also happened a couple of times to Soups in the comics where they mess with Poison Ivy's pheromones and
also they did that in Injustice with fear gas. It was kryptonite.
Yeah.
Fear toxin.
Yeah.
I do like that they made kryptonite menacing. I also like that they said that hey, it's pretty scarce to come by because it was like because otherwise that's a platfall that people often go. It was like, well,
there's a basketball-sized chunk in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah,
Zack Snyder is a hack.
That's fine, but that it also means that you can use it when you need it, but like you're not going to be able to use it willy-nilly.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that I liked about also, so I did think that the movie was a bit too at parts, but considering how much good stuff is in there, I don't mind too much. But like even the hostage scene was like, quick, do it. It's like Superman has like 3 seconds to respond, and it's like he shoots the guy. But that scene I thought was good. And I like the fact that it loops around where he's the real hero. I wish they had honed on that guy a little bit more, because it felt like I like that he's like, like I don't have a family. I'll like that they made him actually like a guy who's willing to put down his life. But I wonder if, and then like the way he just breaks Metamorpho as a character was really solid. I don't know. What did you
My
think?
only thing though is I don't remember Metamorpho kind of like being that like that. It was like I always thought I always think like being able to like create. Well, no, because it's still attached to his body, right? Okay, that's one thing. I was when he was doing the thing where he was like creating like the miniature sun. I was like, I feel like that's more of a firestorm thing that he was.
Yeah, I've never seen him do that. But doesn't mean he can't do it.
No, it doesn't mean that he can't do it, but like now that I'm thinking about it, it was still he was just lengthening it out his body. So like he can change the elements within his body. I don't think that he can like construct things outside of it. You know what I mean? So
and again, you
Firestorm,
really have to,
like if he wants, like I've seen him turn people into pillars of salt.
Firestorm is one of those, oh, thank God he's on our side type characters.
Yeah, he really is.
But I will say you were complaining about the snappiness of the film a little bit. I think that was one of the strengths of the movie.
It was also a strength too.
Yeah, because the whole thing is the movie really wants you to get down the fact this is Superman's first time losing, and he's losing hard. This is Lex Luthor pulling every single stop, and he's got all of them. It was really Superman was overwhelmed as possible, and the movie really portrayed the overwhelmingness that's hitting Superman.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of an issue, but if I were to nitpick a few things, I could say, hey, I wish we were on this moment a little longer. But even then, I really have to search because I really like this movie. Like, I really did.
I think
I want to see it again.
The snappiness benefited some of the
I
slower moments because one of, like, I think my favorite scene in the whole movie is the scene where David Cornsweet or Clark Kent and Pa Kent are just sitting in the backyard, and Pa Kent's like, hey son, shit's sucking for you real bad right now, isn't it? And then they have like that long back and forth that hits really hard and like carries a lot of weight because we are also on the porch with Clark going.
Sorry, continue.
I'm just saying we're also on the porch with Clark going. By that point in the movie, we're just like because by then Lex Luthor put a bullet in an innocent civilian's head. It's revealed that like the media campaign against Superman is entirely doctored, but knowing how the internet works, that's not exactly something he can do anything about.
Yeah, I remember seeing the link online with Super Shit and the monkeys, and people are like, this is terrible. And I'm like, well, let's see it in context.
I think it's so funny when it comes out when people are like, Lex Luthor has an army of monkeys talking shit about Superman on the internet. Someone is always in the comments going, Lex Luthor has an army of monkeys talking shit on the internet about Superman. So you're telling me he owns Reddit?
But no, the issue with Super Shit is it sounded like it was going to be a major plot point. And it really did sound like a big plot point. And it was like, Super Shit's mentioned for 1 second. Or it's mentioned twice for like 3 seconds in total during the entire movie. The monkeys are barely seen, and it just felt incredibly comic booky.
Yeah, it really.
Okay,
did.
Another thing I just realized that I don't like, and they kept showing it in the previews. It was like, so all the shit about Jor-El comes out, right? And everybody immediately turns on Superman, and there's that one dude in the crowd who like throws a can at Superman's head, and I was like, that's a bad move, especially if you now think that this like godlike alien might have ulterior motives and might be a bad guy. I wouldn't like throw shit at him. That might be a pretty bad mistake.
I can excuse that one a little bit because it was all very very quick for them. Like he just saved the city, and now he might actually be like a monster, and nobody really knows how to feel. Nobody knows if it's safe, and so I can easily see them all becoming very standoffish in that exact moment.
I was gonna
and not really
say,
knowing how to feel. And I actually think they did a disservice by deleting his flinching. Him flinching was actually the better take because while it didn't hurt physically, it hurt emotionally, and they should have left it in.
Actually, that's a good point. I agree with
That is
that.
a
Yeah.
good point.
But all right, so like overall, I think personally for me, I think I would like to see a different villain. Like, it'd be, hey, the engineer, hey, that's cool. Hey, you got fucking Ultraman, that's also cool, or quote unquote Bizarro, like Luther's version, and then
Yeah, who do we want to see?
I
Parasite.
still Brainiac.
here, hold on, give me a second. Let me pull up
I
Superman
would love to
villain.
see Parasite because
Because I
Parasite.
can
Parasite would
say,
be cool.
okay,
In honor of Jim Shooter, I think, who just passed away too.
Yeah, he did. R.I.P.
Creator of Parasite. He created him when he was like 15 or something, right?
okay, I have two that I would love to
Gooch,
see.
by the way, said Zach Yard is on my wall and gorgeous.
Oh
Agent Gorgeous.
shit! What's up, man?
It's
Gooch,
funny.
make sure Zach's cover. You're working on the cover right now for Phenomenova issue 3, right?
I don't know. Will you tell me? Fucking.
No, I
smartass.
can't. I was that was more so. All right, Zach's
No,
working on a cover for my book, so make sure to stay. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
All right, so I have 5 that I think would go real hard. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Brainiac,
Mhm.
Yep, that's my top pick.
Vandal
Brainiac.
Savage,
Ooh,
Okay.
that's interesting.
That's also
Mr. Mixospitalik.
That's
That was-
I can, I can.
that
also
would be
behind that.
awesome down the road. But
Yeah.
I do like they set it up. They said when they were fighting, they go, "Oh, that's an extra dimensional imp," and I was like, "I know another extra dimensional myth."
Yeah.
Manchester Black.
Okay.
Oh, like the elite.
All right. Keep
Yeah,
cooking,
yeah.
Cooking.
Or Adolf Hitler.
Adolf Hitler.
You mean Elmo?
No.
Yeah, Elmo.
No, because I'm looking at the list right now, and literally, because it's comic's been going for almost 100 years now. Adolf Hitler was someone he fought at one point, probably.
Yes, it is.
But no, if they do the
during
Manchester-
Golden Age,
propaganda
Kal-El
years.
fought the Third Reich in World War II. Yeah,
If they do the Manchester Black
'Cause he was in the
plotline
Justice
where
Society.
Black tries to convince Superman to start killing, and he goes like, he tricks Black into thinking that he is killing people. I think that would be a really fun one to see on TV to like get that, because that's really the embodiment of Superman, is how he always sees the good and he won't kill anybody, and when Manchester Black realizes how badly he's fucked up, that's like a
I mean,
terrifying
I
scene.
really did like Superman's principles and his morals in this show because he brings it up a few number of times, and in some way I feel like it's also a way to remind himself that like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and you kind of get that it's challenged a lot when the parent situation came out. To be honest, I don't think that is legit. I think that is like a thing they're going to touch upon again in the future. I don't think it's the last we're going to hear about it. I just, here's why. Because you have that pocket universe. You have the information he's stolen from there. So, like, knowing Lex Luthor, there could have definitely been a way for it to be. It is probably, it is real footage, but he probably found a way to doctor that footage and make it come across as if it was real. It just seems too on the
Gooch,
nose.
do you want to air out some thoughts right here real quick? I'll send you a link if you want. Sorry, continue, Zach. Gooch might
in the film.
continue.
I mean, outside of that, I mean, it is an interesting take. It's not the only time I've seen that kind of shit happen for Superman. It's the only thing that is heavy lore that goes against the grain, that has nothing to do with it. That's usually an Elseworld type of telling.
One last villain I wouldn't mind seeing because
Toy
we
Man.
talked about it. We talked
That
about
shit
him
wouldn't be-
earlier. We talked about him earlier. Metallo would go really hard.
Metallo would be
Yeah,
cool.
Metallo would go good. I would also, and I have ways that you could like do it correctly. You know, you'd have to you could skip the Death of Superman arc, but I would love to see Cyborg Superman Hank Henshaw. I think he's I don't think he gets enough cred. I don't think you have to do the Death and Return of Superman arc to add him in.
You don't think so?
No, there's plenty of other ways. Just from the way that he gets his power and how he sets it up, and how he can keep manifesting himself as a machine. You know, just out of different machine parts, and the fact that he resembles Superman can give you certain things that Bizarro can't. Because like people, you know, from a distance they'll see Bizarro and be like, "Oh, Superman did this," and then like Bizarro lands and they're like, "Oh no, this is that retarded Superman that everyone keeps, you know, telling us." And he you know, he's
real quick. We got a new person in the panel. MSK, how's it going?
MSK.
What's up, E?
Hello.
MSK, what were your
Here's
thoughts?
another one before we forget.
What's up?
Solomon Grundy.
You have the link.
Isn't he a Batman villain?
Nope. He didn't start off as a Batman.
Technically, he's a Green Lantern villain.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Scott was the first person to fight Solomon Grundy.
That's true.
That's right. Yeah.
I did not know any of that.
It is definitely James Gunn directing ability for him to actually pull that off.
What, Grundy?
Yep. Even if not as a main villain, to put Solomon Grundy in a Superman film would actually, I think he could pull it off. Because
you think they do some like
as in a Superman? Is that really the best way? Because here's the thing: this character kind of gets around. Like you see him with Batman, you see him first debuting Green Lantern, you see him as Superman.
I mean,
but do we want to see him as
a villain? He used to be a villain that like was a big one at the time. And I mean, I'm not to say that like is he like can he carry his own? Probably not. He's good as a side character villain or a side quest.
Well, it depends on who's writing them, dude. If,
exactly.
You know.
Exactly. I mean, for James Gunn, for him to throw random characters at the wall and make it stick, I think Grundy can be one of those characters.
Yeah, because there's some people who make him a big, you know, like dumb oaf, and like, and other people they make him like DC's Hulk. Like he's,
I mean, anybody can be a good character with the right writer. It doesn't matter how dumb of a concept. I mean, Gunn made Polka Dot Man a good character.
Yeah, I mean, look what Marvel just did with Riri Williams. You know,
shit, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They made her
my
black.
god, I just realized this, and you guys are all comic book people, so you'll enjoy this. I just realized that
Gooch I don't think Gooch liked the movie, guys.
No,
What made you think
Gooch
that?
hated the movie.
Really? Because Gooch and I had a back and forth on Man of Steel. I assume we disagreed on this. I didn't hate Man of Steel, but I was just like the only one on the panel not glazing it.
Man of Steel is not good. No,
I don't think it's great. I think they're great.
Man of Steel's biggest positive is the soundtrack, and even
I forgot to give Zack Snyder credit for this in my movie review. I give him credit. He did a better, he did a better Jor-El than James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn did the worst Jor-El.
Yeah, like like because you know what's crazy on Twitter, you got these fucking snot-nosed, pompous, dumb freaking retards. Okay, so when someone says it's in the comics, I usually like to ask, have you read said run from that's from? Yeah, because if you don't know where that's from, you're talking out of your ass, because someone will say, okay, let's hypothetically say it's Jor-El was a little bit changed in John Byrne's run, just a little bit. It was a piece of dialogue that was really changed with how he is. But when that person's talking to you, they're not referencing that. So I don't know what they're talking about. And I would say here, I don't like the decision that he did with Jor-El. I didn't. But I always tell people this. Just because you've been shown something doesn't mean there wasn't an other iteration of it that they didn't try. Now, this is the reason why people need to understand, just because it's in the comics doesn't make it good. Like the reason why they never went with that is because it's not a good idea.
Yeah, there's also a comic I read where Mr. Freeze, if you remember New 52, they tried making it where Mr. Freeze never knew Nora. That was in a comic.
In the 52, with
but they didn't make it so they didn't just make it so he never knew Nora. They made it so his whole dead wife persona thing was all in his head. Like he was just that crazy.
Also, in the
Yeah.
New 52, specifically with John Jor-El, I think there was a storyline where he didn't die on Krypton, and then he saw how he basically turned into like Ultron. Essentially, he saw how bad humanity really was, and he became a villain.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah,
he did.
Remember that he had like one eye or whatever.
They're gonna be
Yeah, he was Mr. Oz. He was Mr. Oz.
Yeah.
He was working with
Wasn't that the Brian
Dr.
Michael
Manhattan
one?
for a second. It was like, what is going on here?
I'm so glad I didn't read New 52 Superman. Holy shit.
I skipped a lot of New 52.
MSK, me, Pirate King Boros was good.
Hello.
I mentioned it earlier. I said I am not a fan of the decision immediately. Like my immediate energy is bad, but I will reserve my final judgment until like the dust is settled and this entire story has told its piece. Because if there is a direct, because I brought it up earlier, James Gunn has been emphatic that he has a beginning, middle, and end in mind for this universe if it makes money to keep going.
Right.
So, and like some people have theorized that it's going to end at Kingdom Come because that's David Corenswet's emblem. I think it's going to be a mixture of Kingdom Come and Dark Knight: The Master Race. Did you ever read that one from Frank Miller?
No, I only read the first one.
The Dark Knight Returns, and then The Dark Knight Strikes Back, which is the bad.
I know
really
a little bit
bad
of Dark
one.
Knight Strikes Back. I know a little.
The Dark Knight Strikes Back is the really bad one, but then the Dark Knight Master Race is another one that's like hit or miss. But it's because part 2 was so bad, part 3 got no credit, which is fair.
Yeah.
But they did a really neat thing where the Kryptonians in Kandor are really, 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 really evil because they've just gone nuts.
So like the only thing that's a saving grace for it is people say Supergirl. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
One second. Arza, you want to head out before? All right. So anything you want to say? Anything you want to promote before you head out?
Yes.
I mean, I put out a designated review, so if you want to see me rant about it and give a positive review of it, that's over on my channel, Arza Chats on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok, and X. And the last thing I just want to say about this whole piece is, it's fantastic to finally have a movie where our only discussion is about nerd shit. We're not talking about politics. We talked about how hot women are, and we talked about that one lame scene with Sean Gunn. And other than that, this is.
I like that scene.
I thought it was lame, but you're welcome.
I thought it was funny.
We had nothing, but we have not talked about wokeness. We have not talked about DEI. We have not talked about any kind of forced politics. There's been a purely positive nerd discussion, and I'm glad to see that we need more of that. Now, I'll see you guys around later. See you guys.
Peace out, bro.
You're good.
See you, man. Anyways, MSK, like I was saying, if the writing is strong and it works, boom, go for it, Gunn. Keep on shooting. You know, that's going to be my take.
Comical making all the known Kryptonians besides Cal and
because my basis for this is in most runs, if they're not Superman, Supergirl, Superdog, or the Lex Luthor clone Superboy, they tend to be evil. So like it.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
we
know.
already discussed that.
But like
escape from the Phantom Zone.
It's much more highly likely. It's much more highly likely that he just did this because he binge watched Invincible the week he was drafting his script.
This is where I think it comes from. He's been on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. He's mentioned how much he's loved Smallville. The first time I had seen Jor-El or heard his voice being a little bit more evil and not being that person that first saw Krypton's destruction was in Smallville. It was in the first season or second season when Clark met him, and he wasn't like this great humanic guy that everyone knows him for. That was like retconned in later seasons. I think he literally got that from Smallville, or he got that from Tom King. If anyone's ever read Tom King's Batman run with what he did with the Flashpoint Thomas Wayne, he destroyed the Flashpoint Thomas Wayne's image. In that story, if people don't know, so even if you watch only that Justice League animated Paradox movie, you know that Thomas Wayne that's like he gave his son that node and he loved his son, he figured out what happened with him.
Are you talking about like the City of Bane bullshit?
Yeah. So
God.
Thomas Wayne is convinced by villains that he needs to. It's already ridiculous. That's already stupid. Thomas Wayne, Flashpoint Batman got convinced by villains, Batman's Bane and fucking Joker, that he needs to stop his son. That's why I think that is Tom King shit. He literally.
I hate Tom King.
he has so much daddy issues. Like
I haven't read his stuff. I've been avoiding it like the plague because I've just heard.
You just look it up. I don't even care if you looked it up.
But I've heard
He is a
Supergirl. I've
weirdo.
had a few people like Boros tell me to check out his.
That one I heard is very good. I have that book. I have to read it.
I've heard good things about that. For the most
he
part,
likes-
though,
he's
Tom
more of a
King,
woman than a
we
man,
discussed it
so,
earlier. Tom
yeah.
King just he's not afraid to like have every single character dump their purse on the counter.
He just has daddy issues. Like there's people said it was James Gunn. I think it was Tom King. Tom King is fucking a weirdo. Like he sounds like that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that he wrote a better woman than a man because he probably is more of a woman than a man. Wouldn't be surprising me at all. Like in that movie, I can guarantee you, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Lobo's gonna ask her body count, some shit like that. She's gonna be like, I need to fix myself, Clark, as she's fucking jerking off 12 fucking dicks.
What?
Her name is.
I don't think that's.
She looks like
gonna
a drunken
happen.
whore. She looks like she just got off sucking.
I
some
agree.
hot
Yeah,
cock.
we did call her Super Kesha.
Here's the problem. Here's the
mom
problem.
hated that too. My
Millie
mom was-
Alcock is like super hot.
Millie
so,
Big
like,
Cock.
she can do no wrong in my eyes.
She is hot, but that doesn't mean that like
Pretty-
why can't
yeah.
she be? What happened to the girl next door? That's who the happy.
Oh, she's next door, all right. She's on her knees next door. That's a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, all right. So my mom,
Yeah,
she
and
knows
and
nothing
next
about
door
it.
is my house. What?
I watched this with my mom, and my mom was like, "You like that Supergirl?" She's like, "She's so trashy." Like you gotta understand, even if you're like, "Oh, well, there's more reasons. Check out the next movie." It does, in the context of this movie, she's a drunken asshole, and Superman is like, "Yeah, let's let her get drunk. Let's let her." Yeah, and I'm sure let's not be concerned about her at all. They show no concern for each other.
That's what a bunch of MCU fans did. Remember when Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies are coming out? They were like, "Oh, well, he'll just get the extra stuff in the next movies." First of all, you don't even know that not you, but you don't know that yourself. You're just guessing. Like we don't know if she's gonna be a better character next movie. People are just hopefully optimistic. It's cool. It's cool
Yeah,
to
it
be
gives the character
optimistic.
someplace to go, though. I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
if
it's
they
cool to
do
be
it
optimistic.
correctly,
Right.
If they do it correctly.
She's gonna be choking on. She's gonna be getting gangbangs next.
All right.
movie.
On that note, Sammy, you heading out?
Tentacle porn with Starro the Conqueror.
Oh God.
What's up, buddy?
You said you got to head out soon, right?
Yeah, I got to work in the morning, so I should head in. But
All right.
yeah, I love yeah, dude. If you want to start doing like a regular comic book talk, like I said, I'm thinking about changing the time for Cave Cast. But yeah, otherwise, anytime you guys can hit me up, you know that I'm always down to talk comics. So
Yeah, sounds good, man. Let's do that more. Definitely want to make more of a habit of it on my channel.
Yeah.
Like actually dedicating time instead of just because I've realized all I do is just kind of like promote my book, and then I don't talk about the stuff that I love, and I kind of miss that.
Yeah,
so,
I'm in the same boat where I'm just gonna start utilizing my channel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And
so
oh yeah, before I go, I realized this the other day because I haven't watched any Ironheart, but I watched that Mephisto scene. She looks and sounds like young Michael Jackson.
She looks like Bruce.
She looks like Jaleel White.
Just looks like every black girl I know on the street. Ain't no difference between her.
She even sounds like she's like, "What are you here for, devil man?" I was like, "Oh my god, that sounds like Michael Jackson." Free nose job, Michael Jackson.
all right.
All right,
Well,
you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah. We might be hopefully I don't have to push it back because of my shift. I'll let you know, Sammy. But our plan is to talk. I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original. Tomorrow.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Me
I'm
too.
actually
I rewatched it.
I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna fall asleep rewatching it right now. So
oh my
Dude,
god,
it holds up. I rewatched it for the third time yesterday. It holds up. So I'm excited. Is it okay if we maybe push back the time a bit if we need to?
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I got
agree with
nothing
that.
else going on there, and yeah, I remember actually finding.
MSK, you've
I didn't
seen
know
that?
that it was based off a book.
various parts because
Oh.
it would play on TV. I didn't
You
know
gotta
what
watch
it was.
the whole thing. Start to
I have to
finish.
watch
You
the whole
could do
thing.
this-
I've only maybe seen like the first part of it ever.
You gotta watch it. It's
Wasn't there one in the
It's,
franchise where
I
this
love it.
alien was killing people?
What
I
the
don't know.
fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, wrong
This is
franchise.
a guy with a fishing hook.
all right. Well, I'll see you guys. Hit me
Dude,
up.
I'm excited. And I'm
Yeah, me
disappointed
too.
by the lack of enthusiasm. Where are my other fans?
Yeah, I'll reach out to like
Indifferent.
Nat.
Indifferent.
She'd want to
Sorry, no offense.
Yeah, see if you can find anyone else.
Sam, you
But,
gotta let me know. We have to have you back.
But
on the
also,
show
Jennifer
eventually.
Love Hewitt.
Oh
there
yeah,
were people saying she
MSK,
didn't
you know I
look
love
good.
hanging out with you too,
Dude,
brother.
Jennifer Love Hewitt's looking good, and there were people that were like, she doesn't look that good.
Dude, she's looking like she's looking like a bowl of oatmeal. People were like, she got big. I was like, in the right places.
Yeah,
I know
That's what happens when you get
Also,
older.
she's like 50. What are we doing here?
Dude,
She
that
looks
was
good.
crazy. The what people were saying was just like, are you out of your mind?
They're like, and then they would show like a picture of her in I Know What You Did Last Summer. They'd be like, what
She
happened?
was
I was like,
18.
30 years
Yeah,
happened.
30,
You
yeah.
asshole. Okay, I saw a picture of me in high school the other day. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, like
I look a hell of a lot older.
let's compare Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm sure he looks the same as that
Yeah.
movie. No,
Well,
he
you know.
doesn't. But Jennifer Love Hewitt looks like a hot 50, dude. What?
Yeah, dude. She's good.
Don't insult my wife like that.
Don't insult my wife like that.
Yeah,
on that
I
note-
was I had a
Dude,
huge
she's my
crush
dream.
on her.
Dude,
Yeah,
we didn't grow up with her on that, but I remember I like had a phase where I'm like, man, I got to watch every one of her movies because I was like,
I'm
God
right there
damn.
with you. You're a
Dude,
man
I
of good
rewatched
taste,
it for
sir.
the first time in college, and I was like, God damn, that is a woman. She's still my ideal, I think.
She's
Oh,
absolutely. All right, I'm out.
on that
gentlemen.
note, see you guys.
Bye.
But I'm my grandma. No, God, Jennifer looks good.
Pirate King. That's your name? Are you on
Yeah.
Twitter?
I
You keep
was a
getting
long
banned.
time ago.
Yeah.
I've seen you somewhere. Maybe it's
Okay,
all
probably
white people look the
here.
same. Every white person looks the same for some reason.
You got to
I don't
get you because why? You got to because we have like a good network of shows. You should swing by some of them more. I don't know what the best way to reach you is.
Yeah, no, it's just
I used to be on Twitter years ago, but I got banned for a fair reason. So I was like, whatever.
oh god, you had so much shit.
I went off on some the collection flex. I went off on someone on Twitter deservedly, but I said something mean and they banned me. And I try to get unbanned, but they won't let me, so I don't care.
I just made another account. That's what I did.
I don't care enough.
I don't
care enough.
It's great for networking, but it is too addicting. That
So
is
what
the
do you
problem.
network with? You just
But
have
I
like
network
Instagram
like
or
crazy.
Facebook?
I have Instagram, Facebook, and
Do I just type up
Discord.
Pirate King Boros?
On Instagram, yeah, Pirate King Boros.
Oh my god. Is that maybe that's where I saw you from? Maybe you got recommended to me.
If you follow Vaughn on Instagram, then yes, probably.
Vaughn's
'Cause
white. Wait.
I follow Vaughn and Rebel Oasis.
But I do like what this movie has done with people. Well, it's kind of like what Arza said. At least we're debating the merits of the movie and not talking about like intersectional feminism or any of that bullshit that usually is shoehorned into movies. If all else fails with the movie, at least we can have that for it, and that's always very good.
Yeah, the most political line in the movie is Sean Gunn saying how everyone hates Lex Luthor, so we all agree on something.
Good lord. But I did like the Nicholas Hoult Lex Luthor performance. I thought it was very good. Thought he
I
really
thought
knocked
it was stellar.
Thought he knocked it out of the park, honestly. But I mean, I could believe the dialogue got edited, but that predicates on the fact that Supergirl's movie would have to show that too. But he also made this very clear that that's what it was. So I mean, I hope it was altered, but looking at what I heard him say earlier today, it looks like that's going to be probably what stays. But I'll be an optimist. That's what I'll do. Let's see. All right. What the heck?
Like
That-
everything, I'm gonna
Hello.
trust the process until shown otherwise. So,
Let's see.
like, and when I say that, I mean my mind could change like that.
Yeah.
It could change as soon as one movie.
I've always told people the same thing. You know, it's the same thing I did with Marvel and the same thing I did with previous DC. If the next movie does something or insert thing, then, I'll go with that. But, you can only really go off of what they've showed you right now, So what else can we do? All right, I sent you a follow on Instagram. There we go.
Sick.
If you see a hot, rich black guy, that was me.
Hot rich. Okay.
Zach agrees. Zach's doing I hired Zach and Gary Frank and Ethan Van Sciver on my new comic book to do variant covers. I expect them to be out in 5 years, honestly.
Zach will not take 5 years. Gary Frank, good luck affording Gary Frank, dude.
I got $1.
Oh, that'll
I got
$1.
that guy's art is
Dude,
fantastic.
Gary
Out
Frank.
of this
I gotta
world.
read his. I gotta read more of like Jeff Johns.
I do too.
DC
I haven't read
stuff.
enough.
I
Yeah.
haven't read enough. I've read a fair amount, and everything I've read, I've loved. He's one of my favorite writers, but I still don't think I've only scratched the surface. I think I want to dive further into DC. I'm gonna finish up Claremont.
Oh, I never asked you this. Is there Final Fantasy comic books? There has to
Not
be.
that I know of.
Okay. I always thought there was.
I think there's a few tie-in mangas, but I
There
think that's
might,
about as far
but
as
I don't know if they're
goes.
even canon. But Final Fantasy VII in and of because my knowledge is mostly 7, right?
Oh, okay.
My knowledge is limited. But yeah.
Let's see. What else is there with Superman? What did I bring up earlier? Yeah, I mean, I would just hope people understand that people have their different interpretations of what they think for characters are, but that's just how it's gonna be. And this movie, I thought the movie was fine overall. I enjoyed it. I had a good time, but there's a few things I didn't like. Oh my God, Power. Yeah, I didn't like. He should have been a little bit more stronger. I knew James Gunn had said he wasn't gonna be really strong, but he was getting his ass kicked a fair bit in the movie. He needs to be a little bit more stronger than that. Like I didn't really care about the whole Ultraman thing, but it needs to be a little bit more stronger. Like they shouldn't be struggling that hard. But then again, you could say it's 3 years Superman in. He hasn't really fully figured out and realized all of his powers yet. But
knowing James Gunn, it took 3 years, or not 3 years, 3 movies for Rocket to finally be okay with calling himself Rocket Raccoon.
Right?
So I feel like we're saving the time space rippling orbit momentum gaining straight from the center of the sun impact punch for like his first encounter with Darkseid or something. I feel like that's what we're saving that for,
See, I know that like this movie again, I'm really happy with how comic booky it got.
It did, yeah.
It felt like a story you'd read over like 6 to 8 weeks.
Rachel Brosnahan, I needed her to have Clark railed at just once. Can I have it once? Just doggy style.
Jesus Christ, MSK.
I need to have him grab that ass, like grab that shit.
You can imagine it happen off screen. You could use your imagination.
I did. Fuck. No, remember how she said, "Oh, we just made out for hours." Yeah, of course you did. Yeah, of course you made out for hours.
Well, I mean, Perry White said
Perry White was black.
Yes.
I made a joke about that earlier. I said it's funny how the 2 recent film adaptations of Perry White are both black. I think
Lawrence
that's
Fishburne.
funny.
I forgot he was in the
Exactly.
other one.
He's in the Zack Snyderverse.
All right. So it seems like Zach has to. You know what? Should we call it? Oh wait, sorry, MSK.
Hello.
I know you just got in, but we've been going for a while. You guys down to call it?
I'm good to call it. I feel like
Yeah.
we all love the movie.
We talked around it. I feel like we talked around it a lot, but I'm okay with that.
That's good because this has reinvigorated our love for DC.
Yeah, let's go. I want to do more of these. I want to do more of these streams.
Or we could do it 2 ways. We could review the animated DC universe movies that started with the death of Superman, or technically it starts with Mask of the Phantasm. Technically it starts with that. Or we could read more Superman graphic novels and review those.
Yeah, like All-Star Superman. I want to read for
Probably should start with that one. Probably should start with All-Star Superman.
I'm down, dude. Let's figure something out.
Because I review these things on my channel anyway. I need more people to,
Yeah, dude, I'm totally down. Let's capitalize on the summer of Superman. Let's do it.
We need to. I have also Superman in every format except Absolute, honestly. So
yeah, I need to read for all seasons as well. I want to read Man of Steel by John Byrne.
I have that too. Yeah, I have that.
Are we interested in talking about Fantastic Four?
I'd be down. I want to read some of the original. I haven't read any of the original yet.
I only say that because it comes out next week, and
I know.
Release day.
The week, not this coming up, the following week, right? I think.
Yeah, I think.
No, next week.
I'd have to prep.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Dude, it's coming out.
26.
I'm more excited for. I was more excited for Superman, but I also haven't read a ton of Man of Steel. Also, I just
next Saturday.
The casting is a bit weird for
a
Fantastic Four movie, to be honest. Like Pedro Pascal, I just do not see.
It's such a turn off. That's why. Oh god,
I think he's a good actor. Personally, I just don't think he's fucking Reed Richards.
He's weird, and he just turns me. He gives
Like
me
in
the
every scene I see,
He gives you the ick is crazy.
ick. Dude,
well-
remember how he was in that photo shoot with Vanessa Kirby? He was making those weird sounds around her. Just weird, dude.
dude, yeah, he or she was a
The-
pregnant woman was leading him in a
The
crowd. and I was
funny,
like,
the funny,
dude,
no, the funny theory is that
That
he's
is
the
some
father
beta
of her
shit.
baby. The funny
What a
theory is that
fucking
he's the
cuck
father of
soy
her
boy.
baby.
This dude's over here defending trans women. Like, okay, dude, we know you get railed by.
all right, that's enough.
No,
of that.
here's the thing. You might not be half wrong because there was that Last of Us season 2 rap party where he had like the giant rainbow glow stick and he was dancing on stage going with it. Remember?
What?
You never saw that clip, Vaughn? It went all over the internet.
I'm glad I did
Friggin-
it.
I have to dip. Sorry to
All
interrupt.
right, see you,
I gotta
Zach.
talk to Kayla. So thank you for having me on. You
Take
guys
care,
have a
man. Good to
wonderful
see
night.
you.
Keep your eyes
Peace
out.
out, y'all.
See you. And
Take
I'll
care, man.
transition that into keep your eyes out for something Zach and I are working on. He's doing a new cover for Phenomenova issue 3, and I'm also writing his comic book. So I hope you guys are excited for that stuff. It's going to be great. And that's what I got. Phenomenova issue 3. The campaign launches on Kickstarter August 1st. I am very excited for that.
So, anyways, Pedro Pascal gets all his roles because he's gay. That's my conspiracy theory.
He has threesomes with women.
All right. Well, on that note, guys, thank you so much. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. Let's keep in contact and do some comic book related reviews. Wyatt, if you can't get on Twitter, that's typically how we all communicate. But if you can't, that's fine.
You got my number. You got my Insta. You got my Discord.
you.
Just ping me, and I'll get back to you.
So what? I don't know what days you're free. So probably by I'll have to set up a day to review also Superman together.
Yeah, well, also Superman or some Fantastic Four stuff. We could figure it out.
It's fine. Yeah.
Either way, we'll do a bit of that. Yeah, why not capitalize on the trend?
Let's
Give me
just do each
to read
other.
some comics.
Let's go full homosexual with it. No.
On that note, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure to sign up for Phenomenova issue 3 on Kickstarter and be there at my launch party. If you guys are here, you're obviously invited to that. But I'm going to be going like all day. It is going to be I think my best issue yet. We've been building towards this team called Phenomenova, and they have not appeared yet, but they are finally appearing this time around. And it is going to be some very, very exciting stuff. And I think you guys are really going to like what we have in store here. Hold on. How do I share the sign up? So make sure to sign up. The link is pinned in the description. And God damn it, why the fuck is it not? Hold on.
Just remember the theme song, guys. When there's trouble, you know who to call.
Not my dad.
Phenomenova. Oh, okay.
It's not his dad.
Left for ketchup and Skittles and milk.
All right, here we go. Here we go, right here. All right, so that's why it was weird. Phenomenova issue 3. Of course, we've got, if you back day 1, you will get an exclusive trading card of the Phoenix Senshi with your physical order. So make sure you save up and make sure you back right away. Of course, the Kickstarter algorithm really prefers if you back. How well you do on launch day will really propel you in the algorithm. So the better it goes. Also, makes just signing up is good. If you're on my email list in general, that is good too. But thank you guys so much. And if you haven't read it, it's on Global Comics too. But I'll be seeing you guys next time. If you're not already, please make sure to like this stream and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Guys, where can everyone find you?
I am Pirate King Boros on Instagram. It's all lowercase, one word, as it's spelled out right here on the screen. On Twitch, it's the same. And on YouTube, it's spelled out like it is right here. Right now, I'm doing a lot of gaming content, and I am trying very hard to write up some Arcane critique videos, because for those of you who don't know, I am a diehard Arcane fan, and season 2 was kind of ass. So I'm making a extensive criticism video that's gonna, anyone here who knows EFAP or Mahler, I'm going to give them a run for their money because my criticism is probably going to be at least over 5 hours long at this rate. Because there's so much wrong with that second season.
So you didn't like when Caitlyn was having her vagina licked out by Vi, tongue all inside it?
It's so weird because they gave me that scene in isolation is their relationship. So I'm like, yes.
You watch that for science reasons, yeah.
But then when you look at the rest of the season for those two characters, you're like, all that we had to go through to get here, just like a minefield of character assassination and world building sabotage that wasn't worth it. So that scene, a 2-minute music video of a woman getting her box 8 was not worth it.
I could have told you guys that. Riot Games pretends to be virtuous. They're just a horrible fucking company. They pretend to love gay people, but they're now gonna have EWC with the Saudi Arabians. Not kidding. Saudi Arabia literally off gay people. They're taking money from them to have tournaments.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Anyways, my point is that's my current big project, and I am plugging away on an indie comic and a book.
All right, we'll keep in touch on those things.
TBD, which is first, but I do know eventually I'll be at least talking to Vaughn for pointers. Maybe even editing. Who knows? I might need another editor. I'm not sure. But I'm plugging away. That's my current status. I should just make that whenever I sign in on here, I should have it plugging away. Pirate King Boros, subcaption plugging away.
All right, sounds good. And MSK, where can everyone find you?
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on Rumble. Basically, just go to the channel, Master Swag King, just a link tree and links everywhere. I have a comic book channel where I post my comic book reviews and news on. And should be starting another one very soon when I get the free time. But I'm just very busy.
I'm just always not feeling like starting a new channel, so I just keep posting it on the same. And I know that's not good for the algorithm.
It's not, but yeah, it's one of these things where people don't understand. Creating a new channel, you have to do so much to build it up. I don't mind doing it. It's just
I'm kind of just like whatever.
Like people like you're not really supposed to stream this much to one channel, but I was like, I don't care. I'm not doing this for money. If people sub, they do. If they don't, they don't. I'm not.
I just post what I love and stream when I want. If I blow up, I blow up.
Yeah, I'll just have my wife give me a rim job later on, maybe on video, something like that. Well, you guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, see you guys, and peace out.
He's quite the character,
dude. MSK is hysterical. I'm good. Your first time.
That's the Rexplode of your podcast cast.
Oh, he's crazier than that. All right. On that note, I'm going to take care, guys. Hard out. You don't have to stay in the back. I'm just going to pass right out probably.
All right.
But Wyatt, it's great talking to you as always. I'm sorry we don't talk more, but we're busy.
Ah, it's great.
We're going to do more comic stuff. Hold me to it. And we're going to end with Eggman pissing on the moon.
All right.
I'm going to make an announcement. Shadow the Hedgehog's a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking wife. That's right. He took his hedgehog fucking quilly dick out and he pissed on my fucking wife and he said his dick was this big. And I said that's disgusting. So I'm making a call-out post on my Twitter.com. Shadow the Hedgehog, you got a small dick. It's the size of this walnut except way smaller. And guess what? Here's what my dong looks like. That's right, baby. All points, no quills, no pillows. Look at that, it looks like 2 balls in a bong. He fucked my wife, so guess what? I'm gonna fuck the earth. That's right, this is what you get. My super laser piss. Except I'm not gonna piss on the earth. I'm gonna go higher. I'm pissing on the moon. How do you like that, Obama? I pissed on the moon, you idiot! You have 23 hours before the piss droplets hit the fucking earth. Now get out of my fucking sight before I piss on you too.